Welcome all. I'm Jason Dahl, and I'm here with Eric Clegg and Shawn and Teresa Buckley. Great to see so many people already joining us from all over the country. Call out your name and location in the chat, and we'll display that on screen so everybody can see how Canada is so involved tonight. For those of you joining us for the first time, I would like to highlight that the question and answer portion of today's show will happen at the end, so get your questions ready. We'll be watching chat all night for good questions, so just ask away. And with that, we have got some happenings going on, people. We've got some happenings.
Well, I know I only have 1 minute left, even though there's a good 15 minutes left in the second hour of debate. Mr. Speaker, I do want to say some thank yous.
We'll get back to that.
Order. The question is as follows. Mr. Culkin, seconded by Ms. Cody, move that Bill C-224, enact amend the Food and Drugs Act, Natural Health Products, be now read a second time and referred to the Standing Committee on Health. If a member participating in person wishes the motion be carried or carried on division, or if a member of a recognized party participating in person wishes to request a recorded division, I would invite them to rise and indicate it to the chair. The Honourable Member for Ponoka, Tisbury.
Mr. Speaker, I would like that this bill be passed unanimously.
Is it agreed?
Yes, agreed.
Agreed. I therefore declare the motion carried.
Reading of this bill. Deuxième lecture de ce projet de loi.
Accordingly, this bill stands referred to the Standing Committee on Health.
Well. Yeah, exactly. Applause. Things happen sometimes when you do things. Isn't it incredible? Congratulations to everyone in the studio, and congratulations to everyone watching. Bill C-224 has passed second reading and is now referred to the Standing Committee on Health. Perhaps, Shawn, you could fill us in a little bit on parliamentary procedure in this, what we're expecting, what this step means.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jason. So first, I guess parliamentary procedure is the first thing that we should talk about is, for a bill to become law, it has to go through 3 readings in both houses of Parliament, so both the Senate and the House of Commons. So this bill's begun in the House of Commons. And you can tell the difference is there'll be either a C or an S before the bill number. And some types of bills can't start in the Senate. They have to originate in the House. But this is a House bill. And so what happens is you have first reading, and really nothing happens at first reading. There's no vote, because nobody knows about the bill. So first reading is really just the introduction where you say, hey, I'm introducing this. It's recorded as first reading today, and everyone gets a copy. So then it's adjourned for second reading. And between first and second reading is the different parties decide, well, what position are they taking on this? And then for second reading, you have debate. Questions and answers about the bill. You have debate about the bill, different statements, and then a vote is taken. Now, we just witnessed on that clip that basically, they didn't record votes because Blaine Calkins asked that the bill be passed unanimously, which required the various parties to signal, yeah, no, we're all for this. And then it goes into committee. So before third reading, the bill goes from second reading into committee. Mm-hmm. And so for various areas, like let's say it was a finance bill, it would go to the finance committee. If it had to do with military spending, it would go to a committee with expertise in that. But because this is a health bill, it goes to the health committee. Now, government bills can go and sit in committee for some time, but private members' bills have to be dealt with by the committee within 90 days of it being referred to the committee, but days where Parliament isn't sitting don't count. So, if we hit summer recess, for example, before the 90 days, then we wait and the clock starts ticking again when Parliament resumes. So that's where we are now, and this is pretty important. we were here before with the exact, well, I shouldn't say the exact same bill, but almost the exact same bill. In the last Parliament, it was called Bill 368. And, we learn as we go along. So I'll talk in Buckley Unfiltered a little more about what we need to do. But what's happening now is the bill's going to be in committee. People can submit written submissions. People can apply to be witnesses. And the committee can amend the bill. So this is pretty important. Last time when it was 368, all the witnesses are called. And then on the very last day, remember, they got 90 days. The very last day it was scheduled to be dealt with by this committee. Peter Julian, who was an NDP health critic at the time, introduced an amendment that would totally have gutted the bill. And the Bloc Québécois entered some amendments that were also quite threatening. And so we had Dr. Ellis, who was a Conservative member at the time, was the Conservative health critic, basically filibustered, literally, delayed the committee so they didn't vote on those amendments. And so it was adjourned for a week. And if you guys recall, we had a panic mass email letter campaign. The mail strike was on at the time, and many of you, we hadn't thought of it, but many of you thought, well, I'm going to fax these letters also, which was good that we learned, hey, let's do that also. And I forget now, guys, how, was it it was over 100,000 letters, I think.
I think it was more than that.
Oh, yeah, no, I think it was 150,000 or 100. It was a ridiculous number of letters you guys sent. And so when the committee resumed the following week, I think for the first and only time in committee history, somebody voted against their own amendment. Peter Julian actually voted against his own amendment. But one amendment passed, and everyone thought we had won. It's funny, for this next bill, I had analyzed the amendment. It was a block amendment, and I think it rendered the whole thing meaningless. And I don't think that was the Bloc's intention by any stretch of the imagination. So they had kind of a concern about nicotine in youth in mind. So, but it taught us, wow, we could have this committee process, and then the whole thing could become meaningless with some amendments at the very end that witnesses don't have an opportunity to speak to. So, so I learned that, there's even another way that the intentions of the public can be dismantled. But anyway, let's say we got through committee, then it goes back for third reading, and that's where the rubber really meets the road. That's where the parties vote on whether to support it or not support it. And today is March 12th, and we had another Conservative, I think number 4, cross the floor.
It's the 11th. It's the 11th.
Oh, it's March 11th. Okay. So, so it's March 11th, and we had another Conservative cross the floor. And by my math, that now gives the Liberals a majority, a slim majority.
Was it Liberal or NDP who crossed? I heard something about it.
It was a Conservative that crossed.
Okay, right.
No, it was NDP.
I heard
it was NDP. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was relying on your information to me earlier. So,
Okay.
but okay. So, nevertheless, so it might be a tied parliament now. This is quite
it's actually.
interesting.
I was surprised to read it's two more are needed to cross the aisle before they'll have a majority. Yeah. I don't know. I thought we were at one more a couple ago, but
I thought we were too.
Yeah. So the way it's worked out, the last article I read was 2 more people needed, and this was an NDP from Nunavut who they had approached in January, and she turned them down. So I don't know, maybe Carney had better stock tips this time. I just want to quickly say, everyone, we're having issues streaming to X. I'm working in the background to get that going. Sorry to interrupt. Shawn, go ahead.
Oh, no, actually, no trouble at all. And I think I was almost there because you had asked me to explain just kind of the process. And so here we are with Bill 224. Do you want me to go into just how significant this is? This is...
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. So
it's so big. It's wackadoodle.
It's really huge. And I hope we play that clip later about MP Blaine Culkin's basically thanking the public for, their support, for writing letters, for sending those postcards and all of the like. But I expect, Canada's 157 years old, 1867.
Quick math.
Yeah. So I think that if I'm correct, probably less than 10 times in our history has a private member's bill made it into committee. It's really rare. It's really rare for that to happen. So the fact that it's happened now twice is quite significant. And this parliament presented more of a challenge. So last parliament, if you remember, there was a Liberal minority government, but they were supported by a much larger NDP party. So the NDP had many more MPs at the time. And so we needed the NDP to support the bill. We needed the Bloc Québécois, and it was a conservative private members bill, but the Conservative Party also had to support it. And it got into committee. This time, actually, because it's so neck and neck, where the Liberals have almost a majority. I mean, they're a minority government, but the numbers are really close. Really, everyone needed to support it. And everyone would need to show up to support it. It wasn't set to be voted on until today. For those who watched the clip and will watch the clip again, you'll notice, there's not a whole bunch of people there. Well, that's because it was the debate, not the vote. So we really would have needed, almost full attendance to get this, approved. And I'm probably accurate when I say I think that MP Blaine Culkins was far from confident that the bill would get approved. And then all of a sudden yesterday, so it's set for debate yesterday, he learns that the Liberal Party has decided that they would support the bill on second reading. It doesn't mean they're going to support it on third reading. It doesn't mean they're going to support it in committee. But it does mean that they made a decision to support getting Bill 224 into committee, which is interesting. It does make it a little harder for them, to vote against it on third reading, because it would kind of beg the question, well, why did you support it into second reading? And what I think happened was, and this is so important for everyone to understand. So for example, and I won't name the MP, but there's some Liberal MPs that are part of the Standing Committee of Health. It's a multi-party committee based on kind of representation within the House. And I was meeting with the aide of one of these Liberal MPs on Bill 224, and actually, what was interesting is a lot of the things that you and I take for granted, just understanding the importance of NHPs and how they're regulated and the drug model and the things that we talk about here all the time. This person who, is the person that assists a Liberal MP in the Standing Committee on Health really didn't understand most of the things that you and I take for granted in our understanding about NHPs. And it was a really fruitful meeting, and I had prepared a briefing note for the Liberal MPs. And the request was, because it's, I was asked, well, what do you guys want? And what we want is we want the bill, once they came to understand the history and that the purpose of this bill is just to move us back to the way we were, and that there had been no debate because it had been tied in a budget bill, we're saying we want the bill to enter committee so that the Standing Committee of Health that has expertise in these matters, that there can be, there can be a debate, there can be a discussion, it can be looked at rationally, which hadn't been done. And, I know that there were, we were asking you guys to keep sending those e-letters, not to just stop at one. And I hope you all understand that are watching. When we ask you to send an e-letter or a regular letter or make a call, and you do that, don't think you're done. Do it the next day. Like, at least do it weekly. But, why not send a whole bunch and just keep sending them and change them and personalize them? It adds up. So what I think happened is that you created enough pressure that the Liberal Party decided, for political reasons, that they were better off supporting this bill getting into committee. And again, this doesn't mean that we're done. We're far from done. We need a lot of participation in committee. We'll talk about that a little later. We need to continue to educate. Like, one thing that's becoming really clear to me is part of our challenge is to get the Liberal MPs and their support staff to really understand these issues and to understand how important natural health products are, and understand we can't have good regulatory environment if we just regulate away all risk without any regard at all to benefits, and that we actually need to do a balancing of risks and benefits on every type of product, on chemical, on natural, on medical devices. Like, we have to have an honest discussion about this. And they don't understand that we haven't had an honest discussion, and we can't have an honest discussion, and that there's censorship, and that it's impossible by design to get natural treatments approved for serious health conditions. They know none of this. And so we have a lot of work ahead of us just in actually together interacting with our MPs, and we'll help you with that. We'll pick a topic, and, we'll get you meeting with your MP and educating. So, but this is huge. This is history being made. As I said, like, in Canadian history, it's only been a handful of private members' bills that have made it into committee. This may be the first one that has gotten into committee unanimously. Don't quote me on that, but maybe. And if not, it's like, one of two type thing. So this is history being made. This is huge. It's a super important topic. Maybe
so everybody watching tonight, you got work while you're in chat there. See if you can find out if any other member's bill has gone through unanimously like this. Be very interesting.
Private members bill.
Private members bill. Private members business. Yep. We do have some very special people floating around. There's Michelle Chaufreau-Cook, who we all know. And stick around, Michelle. We're going to be talking about you in a minute, because we have Pierre, who's joining us now.
Yes.
Let's get the group view. Oh, got to add Pierre there. Bear with me. Yes. All right. Hi, Pierre. How are you?
Hi, very well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Great to be with you tonight.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. And it's a great day. I agree with you, Shawn. Yes. To have this bill coming on. Yeah. From the tour that you done, starting like for us in French was last September, you achieved something very beautiful. Bravo. Bravo. Very happy to be part of that.
Well, we all did. And Pierre, we want to talk a little bit about, who you are and what you do. Jason, is there any way we can get Pierre a little bigger on the screen?
Working on that.
Oh, we're working on that. Okay. Well, oops. That didn't work.
That's Shawn.
So there we go. So, well, we'll give you the spotlight. Pierre, a lot of people watching won't know about Vitalité Quebec, and they won't know about the situation in Quebec. Can you just tell us a little bit about what Vitalité Quebec is and how you got involved? Because you started it.
So I started it a bit more than in October 1995. So it's been a little more than 30 years. So it's they call me the French Alive. So it's a health food publication on organic food and also on supplements for people who take care of their health the natural way, if I can say, all in French. It's all across Canada, mainly more eastern Ontario, Quebec, and New Brunswick. And the magazine, since there is no, for people to understand, since there is no trade publication in French, there is Vitalité, it's a customer magazine, and a trend magazine at the same time. So I have, and Shawn can say it, during the campaign, we work with the chain store called Avril. Avril, it's a huge super health food stores across Quebec and even across Canada for their size. And they were able to see how with the magazine I was able to establish after 30 years relationship above just business, but about also vision of this industry. It's a big fight because what is happening in Canada is just giving us like the trend. Here, guys, what you can use or not use, and then it's by province. Maybe Shawn can correct me, but it's then after that the province has to be put it in force, if I can say. And for us in Quebec, it's been a very sad year because beginning of January, the provincial government passed a law and they removed the right of the naturopathic doctors, herbalists to issue some tax receipt when they do consultation. So this is very, very, very sad. So it had an impact on the industry that some people in Quebec, what they want to done with us at Vitalité, it's kind of a wisdom team to be able to push that ideal to the government through like the magazine and the people in the stores, the big chain, and to say to them, to be healthy, you have to be happy. Just at the beginning, just be happy, have a good life. And also you have to eat good food and take your vitamin if you need some. And then you do some prevention. I'm not sure if it's the right term, prevention. So the problem in the province of Quebec, the doctors are only paid by act. So if you're sick, it's great. If you're not sick, it's bad. They don't make money out of you. And that's what we try now to establish. It's kind of a little bit like your question. You want to do a mystery of wellness, if I remember it. Maybe I don't have the title right. And we have to establish this now. And me, one of the questions, and I know we discuss about that, is there any MPs? This is for me a huge question. Is there any MPs using natural product? I don't know. Is there mother or grandmother give them a mother tincture of something just to have their cough removed? Do they take essential oils? Do they eat organic food? And when I'm looking what's happening across Canada and what's happening in the province of Quebec, it's like no politician at all deal with natural products. And I find this very, very strange. Very, very strange. I know I told you, but my brother is retired now today, but he's a federal judge in Ottawa. And it's the same. We were speaking about that. And it's hard to have someone, at the end, hey, okay, I got you, I understand. And yes, maybe one day the judges can not just use what was decided in the past. They can make the future instead and say, okay, here, you're not killing any people. What you're doing, it's good. And that's what we try. That's what I try to explain and do. It's a major quest. It's a big quest, but it's not easy. But we succeed. With Shawn, it's Michelle Cook. We're going to see her later. Michelle Cook was writing for me because I had a magazine, Health and Vitality, in the past across Canada. And Michelle Cook was writing for me, and she started to speak about you, Shawn, and what you were doing. So we published an article last spring, and then we published another article in September. And you needed help to open up the doors of the province of Quebec in French, and we did. We did. If you remember in Ottawa, you were able, Marie-Lise Petier bring to you through the magazine, through the store, more than 4,000 signature for that. So that's what Vitalité Québec is about. I don't say we're a dreamer, but we want to make sure that the next generation will be in good hands, I'm sure. It won't be just about money.
I'm just going to ask if Jason's listening, maybe if you can send a link to Michelle, it'd be good to pull her up. Pierre, I was troubled. You just told us, I wasn't aware. So the Quebec government has basically changed the tax law where basically people can't, deduct receipts for going to see natural
correct.
healers.
Yeah.
So, and then we had last year where that one naturopathic doctor, Annie Janot, was convicted of practicing medicine.
Yeah.
And then the Quebec Court of Appeal upheld that conviction. And what I found interesting, because I read the decision, and the issue wasn't, is she helping people? The issue wasn't, is she qualified? The issue was, the law says only doctors can practice medicine, and the practice of medicine is so broad it includes making treatment recommendations and diagnosing. And it seems that Quebec is maybe one of the most hostile provinces towards natural healing traditions and people having the right to choose, because if naturopathic doctors are afraid that they'll be charged, it's got to be putting a damper on things. What is the kind of feeling in Quebec?
I know in all the naturopathic doctors find it very, very difficult because their business drop because they're not allowed to deduct anymore on their income taxes the cost of it. And also, and what we find difficult, it's putting in the mind of the people, say, hey, if the government say it's not good, it's not right, maybe they are, I don't want to use the term evil, but it's hard. So that's why we came out. It's a friend of us who came out with me and speaking about this, trying to do a kind of committee about wisdom about health for the province. Because like I was saying at the beginning, it's a federal, I can say that, master that we have, rules or law that they give us, and then it's each province who decided what to do. And you're right, in the province of Quebec, any what we call PAT are not recognized, so it's been harder, very, very harder for them, and it's very sad. It's very sad, and because we have a few schools. They're barely recognized by the Minister of Education, and we don't have like at the level of university a course or natural healing. They don't want, because again in the province of Quebec, and I know lately we speak a lot about it because we're going to change government in the month this fall, and they decided to pass their law, and they were saying about their money. They said an average doctor in the province of Quebec, they made between around 600,000 a year. And we know it's way more than that. If you're a specialist, it can go easy to 1 million a year. You understand? To make that kind of money, you have to do act. I will give you a very simple example. Like 40 years ago, I think it was around like 2 to 5%. The number of pregnant women who had, how I call this, in cesarean,
cesarean section, yeah.
Yes. What is the level now today?
Is it a third? Is it a third?
It's 55%.
55% have cesareans now in Quebec?
Yeah. And now it's like becoming, it's a kind of an illness to be pregnant. It's just a natural thing. Even we go to the midwife. So my first son, becoming this word 9 years ago in the midwife houses that we have in Quebec. And then my daughter, 3 years ago, I delivered her in the car. So at Canada Day, July 1st, around midnight started. So at July 2nd at 3 in the car, in the woods. So it was my wife, myself, my son of 5, and my mother-in-law from France was there to deliver the baby. And we just wait for the midwives, arrive 40 minutes later because it was a major rainstorm, and we were okay. Everybody said, "Did you go to the hospital? It's dangerous." We're very lucky that the baby, nothing happened. But just saying that, what I'm trying to say, no doctor made money out of this delivery. So for them to maintain their big salaries, they need to put everything with an act I'm doing something on you, it's an act. So we'll do it. And I mean, what I find difficult, and just coming back to that, at the beginning, I said, you have to be happy, you have to be like healthy, just, I don't know, you can run, you can listen to music, you can read a book, and you just eat healthy. You can get drunk one night. It's okay. It's normal. You're not a machine, you're human. But if you preserve your health, you don't really go to the doctor. I'm not saying the doctor is bad. You have a car accident, you broke your arm. Of course, you go directly to the emergency and they fix you. It's normal and it's perfect. On the other hand, I'm sure like across Canada and especially in the province of Quebec, if people started to eat better, take some vitamins better, and they might be not sick they did not get that flu in the winter. Don't need a shot, doesn't change anything, the shot. And so if you had less people sick, everything's going better. But
Can I just comment back on the cesarean section thing? Because I have to tell you, I'm shocked that it's almost 50%. My sister-in-law was a medical doctor who went and worked in a hospital in Yemen. And this would be back probably around, I'm saying maybe late 80s, like before Yemen's civil war. But people would have to travel to the hospital to deliver. And she said they would do anything to prevent a cesarean section, because once you've had a cesarean section, your next pregnancy you need to have another one. Like your ability to do a birth without it is almost non-existent, and they wouldn't know that the mother would be able to get back to the hospital for the next birth. So a cesarean section was a death sentence. And so here we have in Quebec where half of the young moms will have to have a cesarean section if they have more children, which is just shocking. And you've kind of raised an interesting point, because the federal government plays this game where they will not approve natural remedies for serious health conditions. And then they give the provinces all this money. Well, you have to follow the Canada Health Act if you want this money, which mandates the provinces to provide these chemical drugs. So in the mainstream government system, the only legal treatments are surgery and chemical drugs. And the provinces go along with it. Like, there's some real problems, because the provinces are supposed to have the freedom to do what they want, but they're bribed by the federal government. And it's just, it's quite something. I think they're trying to get rid of our natural healing traditions again.
We should have someone figure out if it's that same statistic across Canada.
You have to check it out.
I'm shocked. I thought it was a third.
But it increased a lot, really, a lot. Oh, yes.
That's crazy.
And and it's a natural thing, to give birth. It's just a natural thing. Yeah, it's normal. It's like dying. We're all gonna die. So so giving birth, it's great. You know how lucky I was to be there to catch my daughter.
If I may, I had 3, and it was a progression, and we went to the hospital, and the first time we were starting to get annoyed with how they were treating my wife. It constantly trying to keep her connected to machines. It was like this critical moment. It's like she's going to die, and there's nothing wrong with her. The second time, we went into more of a birthing center, so it was a little bit more chill, but it was still the same. All this monitoring her, restricting her movement, absolute just emergency situation. The third, my son, we did with a midwife at home in our bedroom. And it was easy peasy, painless, wonderful to give birth. And, our 2 daughters were there to watch our son get born. It was so moving. It was so different. And it's shattering to hear that the trend is going in the other way, and that women especially, but whole families are missing out on a much simpler, more natural experience, And of course, we did that because we knew the ambulance was 5 minutes away if anything started to go wrong. So is Quebec leading the country right now? Quebec's had a rough season.
But in Quebec, I have to say the midwife system, it's great. It's great because you see, for my Orange, she's pregnant. My wife, she's pregnant, and we will deliver at home. So this time, they said stay home. It will be better because it went from 5 hours to 2 hours and a half. So we stay home for the next one. Should happen for the spring. Yeah. And everybody like you will be there. My son, us, it will be our second daughter, so to third kid. So my son is very happy about that. He's so happy, and he asked all these incredible questions. And yes, Shawn, just to be back to something you were saying about the federal government. That's what happened to Annie Junot. It's because they didn't look at all detail. They said in the past that's what happened, and the act has to be under the medical act of the federal. I don't know the exact term, and so she was a little bit out. I guess she was outside. I'm not a judge, and they just say. But I think she will appeal. That's what I understand. To the Supreme Court with that.
So it's a provincial it's a provincial law that gives doctors medical monopoly, and almost every province has a law, and it's funny that they would all have it. So pretty well every province has a law that says only doctors can practice medicine, and doctors are members of the College of Physicians and Surgeons in that province. So, and defines medicine so broadly. It's actually how I got into this. It was defending Jim Strauss, who is a herbalist charged with practicing medicine in British Columbia. So it was the exact same thing. And and his crime was telling the truth. That's what they were most concerned about. But, it's hit and miss how much the provinces go to enforce it. I got a call a couple of months ago from a person in BC that is doing live blood analysis. And they got a letter from the College of Physicians and Surgeons saying, this is the practice of medicine. You better stop because you're not a doctor, or we're going to come after you, hot and heavy, so to speak. And, I referred this person to another lawyer because I'm not taking files. But I did say, it may be that it's not worth you fighting this battle. Just let others do blood analysis, and you're going to have to stop. But I was actually thinking, it was either today or yesterday, that when they make it illegal for other people to anything but doctors to practice medicine, well, no doctor's going to do live blood analysis. So it basically means that it's illegal for us to get live blood analysis. And, I've never had that done, but I can tell you I want to get it done because of all the wonderful things I've heard about it, including, during the health show that we did in the fall. So, so it's just interesting. It seems every time we turn around that this problem is either it's provincial or federal, but the same goal is to limit our ability to decide to access natural healers and treatments.
Yeah. And here we have a comment about the baby, about doing it like the natural way. Above the health, it's also about the soul, your soul inside of the baby, that it has to go through that channel. It's very important. So people miss also all that side of health. I don't want to go too much new age. It's not that, but it's there is a lot of benefits by doing it the natural way. Also, cut the cord right at the beginning. You can, keep the cord longer. Even in some, like in French Polynesia, they call this lotus baby. I don't know if you heard about that. It's they keep the placenta in the cord, and they just wait naturally for that to fall. It can take up to 7 days that happen because they say there's so much in the cord. So when it's out of the mother with the placenta, it's going back to the baby and give him even a better immunity. But we all lost that way of thinking because they said so much surgical doing a baby. It's not. It's an act of love, and you just have to take the natural path to come in this world, and some soul will go in him. Or
Apparently, the rate for C-section in Canada is 33%, so quite a bit lower than in Quebec. Yeah.
But but you were making a good point. Like apparently, just even going through the birth canal, you get bacteria and everything. Like you're supposed to go through that experience, and then Teresa and I were even talking. I think it was yesterday. They'd convinced all these mothers long ago to use formula instead of breastfeeding, which is just absolute madness because you get antibodies and a whole bunch of things through your mother's milk. And, like, why would we think we could make baby's milk better than nature? Like, it's just absurd. Yeah. And then I recall I called Dr. Michelle Perro as a witness at the health show. She's an emergency room pediatrician. And, like, baby formula is so filled with glyphosate and other toxins that, it should be criminal. So, yeah, we live in a strange world, Pierre. What do people in Quebec, like, Quebec seems like, I live in Alberta, just so far away, and it's hard for us to know, like, are people in Quebec taking natural products seriously? Do they know what's going on? Like, what needs to happen for them to get a reasonable kind of regulatory environment?
You see, I try, when Michelle came back writing for me in French, she was writing in Health and Vital, but in French now, and she talked about what you were doing and why I allowed it in the magazine, why I put it in the magazine, because people in Quebec, they don't understand that there is a federal law that applies to every province, and there is no way that we can step out of this federal law, unless we do like Alberta or Quebec when they wanted to split Canada. No, there is a law for that, and then it's by province. So I try for them to understand, for my readers, understand that yes, Ottawa, it's important about the law. You have to understand what they are trying to do, and if you want to have things moving, and for that you're great. I don't have that kind of patience, going after Ottawa and putting a law in place or a minister. This is great of you, and so we try to explain that. And in the provinces, that's what I was saying at the beginning, in the province of Quebec, that don't understand, I have trouble not to believe that someone who is, let's say, 20 years old, 25 years old, that they never had, I don't know, echinacea, golden seed, during the cough time on Mother Texture. It's just normal. It's just natural. And why there's no politician speaking about that? We're not evil. We don't kill people. We cure. And what's interesting, at the beginning, it was like, if I can say, all the people from the 60s are still in South Spring Island with the long ponytails. and they were the first one in the 60s to started all these industry, if I can say, made it more available to everybody. But now when you look at stores here, like in the province of Quebec, either Rachel Berry with Sobeys, Avril, or Tao, or La Boîte à Grains, all, they open up to so many people for them to understand what it can be good for them. And they don't try to convert them. They said, just try. When you try, it works. Back to my brother, and it's a fact. Like I told you, he's a federal judge. Of course, Shawn, the federal judge, say it and listen to people. So he needs his face, face. Yeah, the Bell paralysis. I call this the paralysis bell. When your face paralyzed?
Bell palsy.
Yeah, so he had that, and he tried different things. It wasn't working, so he called my mom, not me, my mom, and he said, "Maman, do you think Pierre can ask his people to work for him to help me with a natural treatment?" So I had my people working, and they gave him a protocol. I would call this things to do and takes. And with that syndrome, you have to do it like in the first month once it's happened to make sure that you don't have any sequel left. And it came back perfectly. and said, Mama, I don't know. I really don't know. I know I use the stuff that, Pierre and his people give me. I cannot say it work, but I'm not paralyzed anymore. Why just saying, thank you. This is just great. I'm happy. Can I try something else? C'est tout. We're not asking more than that. It's not difficult. I save your face. Wow, man, I save it. You can listen to the people now in your court and you're not paralyzed. Thank you, the health food industry. Merci. And as you know, what you were saying, it's in the medical law, in the federal, they changed something, or in the Quebec one, I'm not too sure. And they didn't have any, how you call this, la jurisprudence, when they give the judgment?
Jurisprudence, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Jurisprudence in English, we do the same, yeah.
It's the same jurisprudence. So her suit, her request, it was to say, okay, here in the law, there is a little opening now because they rewrite it a little bit, maybe 20 years ago, something like that, but it's never been challenged. So all the judge go back in 20 years ago when it wasn't changed. And in her quest, she's trying to have it say, hey guys, can you just read the new version and maybe say, I'm wrong or I'm okay, according to what they rewrite. That's mainly a request about Annie Junot. Really. And it's if she go to Supreme Court, we'll see. Maybe she will. We'll see what's going to happen. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think that we're going to have to kind of like we're working so hard just on the federal front right now, trying to preserve our access to natural health products. And, we've got some targets like this Bill 224 and make sure the self-care framework stops. But, what people don't understand is, but you'll understand this writ large, is, Health Canada just on a day-to-day basis makes things difficult for the manufacturers and distributors by requiring ever stricter interpretation of the regulations and policy documents. I hear horror story after horror story, and all of a sudden this ingredient's no good anymore, and the like. That it's just awful what's going on. Like it's just getting harder and harder for the industry to I guess bring us products at a reasonable price without too much headache. But the provinces are in on this game too by basically making it illegal or difficult for other healers. So, we don't focus on provincial things, but perhaps going forward,
I think it's something to do because the way that they teach them at school, at university, the doctors, they just put in their DNA here the only way. If you try to speak about a natural extract that you can use, can be good. Golden seals, it's the extract for the antibiotic. Not many people knows that. So when you take it, it can help you. So it's just little things like that. They are not. They need to see, and they need just to open another way. Keep the one that but just open the other way, and just to see there is more than just what's in the line, the products.
So, Pierre, we you were sharing how you've had Michelle Cook, do a couple of articles. I think we tried to give Michelle the link. I don't think if she made it. Did she, Jason? Or no?
Not seeing any action yet. I sent the link and I threatened her live on air. So,
but isn't she wonderful? So, she approached you last year about saying, "Hey, can we put an article in?" And then approached you again and was so gracious to write. I mean, it's just she's so good at it. But Pierre, we're thankful that you're willing to help publish on stuff like that, just so that people can learn. So just kind of really wanted to give you a thank you for what you're doing, because just on our end, we're really grateful that you're helping people in Quebec to understand what's going on.
But I can tell you there is also other people. I cannot do this alone. If I didn't have my health food stores behind me, it won't be possible. I have to take them a lot. I mentioned a few, but there is also the small independent store. So that's why you were able to reach so many. They file so many signatures for you in your request. And yeah, it's my pleasure. I believe in it. People knows me. I'm not afraid. I'm saying it, and it was hard. And I don't want to speak politics because it's not good. The only thing I told you, remember, and you can tell the people, I'm Canadian born, but I'm also married to a French woman, so I'm also French. I have dual citizenship, and when we had, can I say, troubled time during the 5 years ago.
Oh yes, you can. We're honest on this show. So,
and what I done, I escaped my country. I escaped. I went in France. I went in France. And I'm afraid of saying it. It's true, because the only thing I was allowed in the province of Quebec, it's of course to stay in my home. I was allowed to put gas in my car. I was allowed to go to the drugs. To the foods, to the great grocery store, the drug stores that I never go to the drug stores, and to the doctors. Me, I don't even have a doctor. So
don't forget the beer store.
No,
beer was essential.
You want it was blocking. It's a provincials like Ontario Liquor LCBO. So here we have a SAQ, and we weren't allowed to go. They were blocking us. And they sell pot. I don't know how I call it in English. Weed.
Pot.
Weed. Yeah, pot. To get high, and we weren't allowed also to go there. So
no, I didn't. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. I think Quebec's the only one. Some provinces, they would allow you to buy alcohol, but you couldn't go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting.
Yeah, that was Manitoba.
Sounds like Ontario too. I wouldn't be surprised. The gathering of people, you can't have that. Gee, wow! And you guys had a curfew. You had the curfew.
8:00 curfew. Quebec. I remember that. 8 till 6 the next morning. Couldn't go out.
Can I pivot this conversation just a little bit? I want to know, Pierre, what can we do to help you and to help people in Quebec to share this information about natural health products, and what can we do to help open up the minds of the people there and the mama bears and I'm always concerned about moms and their kids, to help them understand that there are other avenues aside from just prescription drug use. What can we do to help? If you had okay, do this and this will help us.
No, but it's just to provide more information, more and more people that are aware and that they know. I have a friend. It's a family friend. It's a friend of my wife. So her name is Sophie. And Sophie had a good friend of us. She's from Portugal, but she's Canadian now. And she had a breast cancer. And she used the traditional medicine to get cure. She had operation. And she used also the naturopathic doctors and also a freezing app that you can take when you do chemio. And she went to a big TV show in Quebec in French called comment ça s'appelle? Because I don't have TV. And Tout le monde en parle. It's a French show that they have now in Quebec since a lot of years, and it's working well. And she said about it, she wrote a book. She said, here, that's the book of Sophie, and it's called Cancer in a Gift from the Cancer. And she explained all the different therapy that she received. And she wasn't afraid to talk about it, to say, yes, I had to go to the hospital. But yes, also I went to a naturopathic doctor. Yes, I went to a natural healer also. And nobody locked her up, because she was speaking on both sides. It's to have more and more, if you want, medical doctors or people like that who are well known, that they speak about their their illness that they had, and the natural product helped them to get cured. We need more than that. So it's really true education. More education you give us, and more education to understand. I think you told me the bloc is on your side about the law, or I'm wrong here.
Well,
they support the bill in committee. They, they're for some reason are using this bill to go after youth accessing nicotine, which is strange. There's other laws about that, and but that's fine. If they want to do that, that's fine. But they also want a recall provision for natural health products. Because one of the changes is when we got moved into therapeutic product category. Well, Health Canada has godlike powers over therapeutic products, so obviously they can order a recall. What frustrates me, Pierre, is that there is a recall power that Health Canada has for natural health products, but it involves going to court and asking the court to order a recall. And the problem with that is that then the court can balance people's need to access the product, and the court might actually say, no, we don't think that we should order a recall, that it's not necessary. Because the difficulty is that Health Canada, both for chemical drugs and for natural products, you have an inspector who's ordering a recall because of a violation. The violation might have nothing to do with health, or maybe there is a risk, but how many doctors out there would be managing serious health conditions with that drug? How many patients would you be putting at serious risk? A recall interferes with medical decisions. So unless it's a clear, we'd all agree, hey, you're adulterated with a dangerous substance, there should be a recall. But a court would order a recall then without blinking. And if a court orders a recall where it's not clear cut, people that need access can apply to court to get the access or to even overturn the recall. There's a neutral person there to balance. So the irony is we think this should be an opportunity to argue in front of the committee that there shouldn't be recalls even for chemical drugs. So the bloc might be helping us here, but for some reason the bloc is kind of the party that wants to tighten things up. And so Quebec's really important on this. We need people in Quebec to step up and start interacting.
You see why I'm saying the bloc, since you were saying a little bit, Teresa, so I said we need education, but someone has to work on politician also. And since it's all starting in Ottawa and that Le Bloc is on your side, you should work on them. And they should be, when there's a campaign, a provincial, federal campaign, in their writing, they should speak about that. I never saw an MP speaking about natural health. Never. Never. So in Le Bloc, maybe if they do this, because the natural, Rachel Berry through IGA, through Sobeys, it's big. They have 120 or 30 stores and boutiques. Avril has 13, 11 major stores. Tao has 6, 4. So if we can have all these MPs going in all health food stores, speak about it, so people can say, okay, it's good. I will give you an example. My son in school, so he's in grade 3 and in primary school, and the day of vaccination when they do recall, he's not there. And people, they don't understand. It's hard to explain your health choice, It's hard. And sometimes, if I can give you a figure, it's like someone who is alcoholic, who used to drink a lot. And we are having that great dinner all together, and champagne or wine arrive and don't want to drink. And then someone said, come on, why you don't want to drink? You're different of us. You're not part of us. So, and he's a little bit afraid of saying this. That's what I find sometimes in the health food industries. Me, I'm not afraid. So I speak up and I put people in place like my editor-in-chief, Shawn, you met her. I think you like Chantal Dumas.
Oh, I really do.
And she speaks so clearly. and she's not afraid. Me, I escaped Canada. I came back. Her, she escaped, and she never came back. It's been 5 years. She's away.
I'll just stop you, Pierre. So I introduced Chantal. I interviewed her for the health show, so people can go to nhppa.org and find Chantal's interview. She has an incredible story. And then for those of you that are bilingual or francophone, she interviewed a whole bunch of people in French, and just did a super job. But yeah, she's passionate, and she's passionate because of her own health journey. And I think you have a super editor there.
Oh, yeah. She was so happy to meet you. You cannot even imagine. Because when just to show you how people are, Shawn Buckley, you're there since a lot of years. A lot of people knows you. You're better known in English Canada than French Canada. Mm-hmm. Now it's better since we work on you. And so it's Michelle Cook in the spring who told me about you. Mm-hmm. I said, wow, okay, who's that guy? Okay, what is Quest? He's doing this. Wow, it's right, it's fantastic. And Chantal Anne wanted to meet you. What is strange, why my previous editor-in-chief know you exchange, and he never introduced you to me or to other people in the province of Quebec. Pourquoi? Why? I don't get it. And he, after it's been a year, so now what I'm seeing, it's me, I try, with magazine, you can try different trends. And I try, and I believe, I'm like a passion guy. I said, okay, there's the doctor, there is the naturopathic doctor of the health food industry. Why not trying to integrate them together? La santé intégrative. I don't know how you call this in English. La santé intégrative, Eric.
Integrated health, sort of integrated health, I guess you would be the direct translation.
Yeah. So trying to have it work together.
Yeah.
So I try, honestly, for Shawn, 3 years, I say, writing about this, having some, imagine for me, having doctors, MDs, writing in my magazine, and I was paying them. And I said, okay, I know we can work. One day we will find a spot, a corner where we can get along and explain. We just want to take care of the health of the people. And I can tell you this, never going to happen. I try. I don't want to blow up your balloon. It's never going to happen. And even in our industry, like I was saying, Chantal Anne, she's a little bit more extreme or passionate, if I can say. And, when I took a little bit over, I put Chantal Anne, she was able to say, and the point that I'm trying to do, it's Chantal Anne, when she write her editorial, her own paper about what she's thinking and trend, it's her. And she write always an article about women's health and different things. And I have some of my readers writing to me saying, we don't understand what's happening to you, to Vitalité Québec. Something's changing here. And I said, Chantal Anne, she's allowed to speak about themselves and give editorial. It's made for that, Here's what's going on. She speak about, March 8th, it's a Women's Day, so she speak about that. It's great. And inside of the magazine, it's another ball game. It's all with biography, and it's all article with a lot of good information in it. And what she's thinking, it was another thing. But even my readers are trouble with that. It's like saying it's the federal law who give everything, and it's a provincial application. So it's like a little bit the same. Chantal just give where she thinks it should go and what she's thinking, and in the magazine we just apply us. We apply what she's saying. So I wish that the politician will do the same. Hopefully. So maybe Teresa, you can work on the block.
Yeah, well, that's why we're here, and that's why we're asking the question, right? Because it's you don't. It's I don't know. It's like for me, this whole natural health product thing. It's like learning a new food group. Like it has been in my journey, and I think that other people are really itching. They're needing to know that there's other options available for them. And if they knew that the option was there and that there's such a battle to fight to protect their access and to protect the knowledge, I don't know. I think that would be very upsetting for most people. So it's just how do we tell people to tell people? Now, wait a minute.
Yeah. That's well said. Yeah. So we have to work on that. We need a wise wisdom committee working on that.
Well, this is a start, Pierre. It's just been an absolute pleasure. I just can't tell you enough how nice it is to have got, to be starting to have a friendship with you, and just how thankful that I think we all are that Michelle Cook has, reached out to you, and that you've let her write a couple of times, and we just look forward to working with you in the future. So,
of course,
just an honor to have you on the NHPPA show. Thank you.
Thank you. And we did a wrap up, last month of your tour. Michelle, she gave us a picture of where you stand right now. Yeah, here.
Here it is. So, so this is for people watching. So this is an article out of Vitalité Quebec, and with pictures from the charter tour, and there's another page of text, and just so thankful that you were sharing that. And just so you know, so you were sharing that Marie-Lise,
the cover,
who, what a wonderful person. Collected over 4,000 signatures. Pierre, that petition is being tabled tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. The clerk of petition has certified 157,057 signatures, which we were told by the clerk of petitions when we were a much smaller number that makes it the third largest paper petition to be filed in the House of Commons in our history. So was a shout out to Marie-Lise for collecting.
Oh, Marie-Lise. It's kind of fireworks. She's incredible. Very, very passionate. Yeah. And even her, she was interviewed, I think, by Chantal about her illness that she had also. And she was supposed to have one kid, and she had 5. Yeah. Yeah. She shared her story. Yes. Yeah.
Well, this is the interesting thing, is I find that many, if not most, of the people involved in natural health, whether they're making a product or whether they're a healer, it's because they are a family member, somebody close to them, their healing journey, they depend on it. And so there's passion there. And one of the reasons we did that health show is because there's people out there in the mainstream system who, the mainstream system's failed them. So it doesn't mean it fails everyone, but it's failed them. They're suffering. They're either facing death or just severe suffering, and they don't know that they can find relief, that they can find health elsewhere, because we're not allowed to tell them if we're a healer or we're selling a product, but we can tell them the natural health product, and you can tell, and and we're going to just shout it from the rooftops.
Yes, yeah. And also I have to thank, because it's important, because I know you used to be based in BC, the Mecca at the beginning, when I started 30 years ago. So it was all the companies from Western Canada, Natural Factors, Quest, Florent, we saw Joy of the Mountain, Strauss, Strauss was advertising with me. We need also these owner who had the vision and support us in the with the paper and the magazine. They do in French, they do in English with Alive, so it's important. They're keeping the voice alive also because of these guys. Yeah. Voilà. And you guys, you will be, you're like Don Quixote. So I hope you will make it. I'm sure. I'm convinced. I'm very positive on that.
Yeah, well, we're playing to win, and it's just because people need help, and I think Canadians are not going to put up with getting sicker and sicker and not having choices. So We've got
Gladiator. If it's not in this life, it will be in the following one. And yes. Yes.
We'll get her done. Pierre, we've got to move on. We've got another
Sure.
a guest with us and a couple of other things. But again, thank you
so much.
Thank you so much for coming and joining us this evening.
Yes, it's my pleasure. Thank
Such
you.
a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Merci.
Bye-bye. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Wow. Okay, so where are we going now, Jason?
We
and what a
have an
pleasure.
introduction to make. Teresa, would you like to introduce our next guest?
Yes. Well, I'm so excited to have our next guest come on. We met her in Grand Prairie, and I think you'll really resonate. Her story will really resonate with you. So let's pull her up.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Hi, Kyla.
I was really trying to get the AirPods going for the sound, but it's not happening. So hopefully the microphone's okay.
Yeah, that looks great. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and welcome to the NHPPA show. And we had met you in Grand Prairie, and I was struck by when you were sharing your story about how other people your age don't necessarily know about natural health products, or even that they should look after themselves. And maybe that's just because of the age, or I'm not sure. But can you share with us a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long road. I think that's usually the way it goes for any of us that find ourselves in this space. It really started with watching my mom go through the conventional healthcare system and be let down repeatedly, and kind of at a loss to the point where it did end up with her in a wheelchair at one point. She was misdiagnosed, and it was just a whole journey for her. So that was really what just had me questioning that there had to be a better way. And then for myself, I mean, through my own health challenges in my 20s, I really just started researching and looking into things. And I just, I was on multiple medications and they weren't helping, and they were making me a shell of myself. And I just lost, my gumph, my shine. And so, yeah, just through that. And sorry,
what had started you? Like, what started you just down that model of just taking more and more medication as opposed to looking at other options?
Well, I mean, just what I only thought my only option was, for when I'd only known just watching my mom's journey, is that if you're sick, you go to the doctor, you go to the hospital. And so every time I went, it's like, oh, here, let's try this and let's try this, rather than, that thing that we miss, that missing piece is, what's the lifestyle like? What's your diet like? The mental factors going on. And so for me, we really got to the point where it was so bad that I had to seek out other options.
And so is that when you started looking at natural health products? And
yes, yeah, absolutely. Just started I'm a big researcher. And so I just started going online and connecting with other people like-minded. I had one friend in particular that introduced me a little bit to this lifestyle. And she said, hey, why don't you try this? And that at the time was inositol. That was kind of my big thing, first thing that I tried for panic attacks. And I couldn't believe it. And I was hooked after that first time. I was like, oh, I don't have to reach for an Ativan. I could try this. And it just took the edge off like that. So,
So what would be like your message as far as to other people that would be perhaps suffering and not knowing that there's other things that they can take? I'm so late to this game of natural health products, and that's what was so inspiring when I met you. Was you're so much younger than me, and how do you possibly find out this information? And because there's got to be, the moms have to know, right, with the kids, right?
So basically, you're wondering about where's the place to start, or
yeah.
I don't. Yeah, that's a good one. I would say honestly, the health food stores. I find there's so many first timers that come in there. So I work there part time, and I just find it's a wealth of knowledge there. The girls know their stuff, and the guys that work there as well. I mean, but yeah, I feel like that was a big part of it as well, is just going in there and asking questions and connecting with more like-minded people like that.
Do you find that there's a lot of people? So are you still working in the health food stores?
Yeah, I do a couple days a week there, and then I also work from home, just helping other people in their health journeys through my own business. But yeah.
And so what kind of questions are you having coming in to the store?
Usually it's people coming in because they're seeking alternatives to medication, and they're tired of just, stacking medication on medication and masking symptoms and not still feeling vital and not feeling well. And then there's these new symptoms coming up. So it's really a matter of alternatives, I guess. And there lies the power of natural health, is just that proactive healthcare and preventative measures that we can implement by taking things into our own hands.
Now you're quite active on social media in kind of promoting this type of lifestyle, right? What type of have you experienced any pushback, or what seems to be the temperature like?
I would say people are curious, actually.
That's it, right?
Yeah. I even will have people message me and just say, hey, what would you recommend for something like this? And that's where that curiosity starts, because they start to see that you're feeling good. You're sharing your results. You're talking about all the benefits it's brought to your life. And so sharing is such a powerful way to kind of keep spreading the message.
So we would love for you to come back and share a little bit more with us with the NHPPA. Would you be able to do some? Would you be able to help us out as a volunteer? We would just love.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd love to do that. I love talking about this stuff.
So Shawn, what questions would you have? What can Kyla do as being an advocate and an ambassador for NHPPA? Like, what options? What can she do? How do you explain what's happening with our government and with them trying to take away our natural health products and just regulate in a way that's kind of like digestible? How do you communicate that?
Yeah, well, first, Kyla, it's curious that, Teresa and I were talking the other day that, the NHPPA, needs some other voices. Mm-hmm. And we both thought of you, and it's just people watching won't know, but we're up in Grand Prairie on this charter tour. And so we go to Homestead Health store that you work at, and we end up just interviewing you. Mm-hmm. And we both remembered your story. We both remembered your journey, and we both kind of independently of each other thought, I think that we need to give you a voice and a platform, and just going forward, figuring out what that looks like. So, so we're really excited about inviting you onto the show today and kind of introducing you to people.
Oh, I appreciate that, guys. I really enjoyed our chat as well. Yeah.
Well, and I think what's happening is people need to know that there's other options, right? Mm-hmm. And if their child is sick, you can go here or you can go here. There's different options. Maybe you can just put a topical cream on if they have a little rash, as opposed to something with, I don't know, heavy cortisone in it or something.
Yeah, steroid cream.
Yeah, I remember my son when he was really young, he had bad eczema. Looking back now, I probably see things a little bit differently, as far as why he was ill. But I remember going to the doctor and it was a steroid cream that he gave, and it hurt his skin. It was so bad. And I didn't know that there was another option.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So my response to, it's really bad, was to put more cream on.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's and now thinking about it, it's like, wow, I was hurting him and I didn't even know. Right. And I think we really have to just start to try really hard to just educate people. And boy, you must see a lot of it at your job.
I do. Yeah. but I really love just being able to connect and share alternatives. I think that's the beauty of it, is just connecting with other people and sharing what we know and learning from them as well. And yeah, there's just a better way. I mean, I've been doing, this lifestyle for 8 years now, and I can't believe how much better I feel. And just, when things do come up, rather than running to the doctor, it's actually taking that into your own hands and being like, okay, what is going on? Is it stress? Is it digestion? There's just so many layers to it, rather than just hopping on an antibiotic, and it might not even be the root cause, right?
Right.
Yeah.
What would be, if you had, if the government, if Health Canada was to come down tomorrow and say, we're going to put all of these restrictions here, and you start to see like the walls kind of collapse like this, what would be your message to Ottawa? Like what would be, if you were representing someone from your age group and a young mom, a young woman, what would be your message to Ottawa?
Oh, just that Canadians really value autonomy and choice. And I think we need to be able to have that agency and take things into our own hands and be proactive about our healthcare, just especially with how harsh it's gotten and busier, and doctors are overworked, the hospitals are jammed. And so being able to just, run down to the health food store and pick something up and, again, take that into our own hands, rather than having to put more burden on that system that's already suffering, but then also just be able to dig more into the whys of things. It's so important to be able to have that. And without that, I don't know, you get the people that are on those 10 different medications and they're sick and they're suffering. And it's so important to be able to have that agency.
Yeah.
It matters. Yeah.
Do you think they know that there's an alternate way? Do you think that are people starting to learn?
I would say so, especially with among my friends. It's honestly amazing how many moms are so concerned with what they're putting in their kids' mouths and on their skin and their bodies. I'd say most of my friends feed their kids organic, even though if they don't do it for themselves. So I would say times are changing for sure. People are starting to question, especially over the last few years. But that's why protecting, like this new legislation, it's so important to be able to have that. For even the future generations, right? People are starting to care more, and then that's only going to continue to snowball.
Yeah.
That's good. Sometimes it can feel like it's a little bit of a seniors movement over here with the natural health products.
Yeah.
It really does. You look at a lifetime of trying to break through the mainstream narratives that are out there. And I think a lot of people, it just takes until you get closer to midway before you start really realizing. And of course, when I was 19, I was like, who cares, right? Sure. I'm going to go jump off a roof tomorrow to see land in a bale of hay and see what that feels like. Didn't care much about my health anyway. Oh. So it's a tricky to lower the age group here. And we're really glad to have you aboard.
But it's the moms. It's the moms that need to know. Like I think it's the mama bears, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, what is it? 80% of Canadians, Shawn, use natural health products.
Yeah, at least.
Maybe the politicians need to know, or maybe they don't know, that most of those people that use natural health products, what would be in your experience working in the store, is it more men or women that use natural health products?
Women for sure, but we got some old dudes coming through.
Okay.
Curious, yeah, they're questioning. I would say mainly women, yeah. But we do get the odd man through, and that is passionate about it too. So
well, I think it's important that the politicians understand that, because I think a lot of their voter base is actually women. Right? Is that correct, Shawn, or am I?
Well, my understanding, like the Liberal Party, that their, the demographic of their voter is kind of like 40 plus women, which, Kyla, incidentally, is that's the demographic of the people that follow the NHPPA. So, but we so need to expand that, and and I think that more young people are sicker. So, when Jason was speaking about, when he was younger, didn't care, I think that we had fewer health problems, like my generation. So we, for whatever the reason, whether it's, increased vaccination or more toxins in our food, I think your generation is sicker on average than ours. So, so I'm hoping that, we can bridge that gap. Certainly having an exciting week here.
Yeah. Well, I think they said something like the men my age have the testosterone of men in their 70s, I think 50 years ago or something like that. It might be representing that, but it is quite significant. And I would say, it comes down to the food. It comes down to environmental toxins, BPAs, fragrances, all those types of things, those estrogenic compounds. So, yeah, it's true. It's true. The people my age are definitely having issues a lot earlier than your generations, for sure.
Right. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Truly interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Kyla, and we look forward to seeing you real soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's going to be I think that Canadians need to hear your voice.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me, guys. It was nice chatting with you all.
Yeah, it was great having you on. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
You too.
All right. We were about to throw over to the feed, and Eric seems to have a connection issue, so we'll hold on that for a minute. But wow, Kyla's great.
Yeah.
And was that her social media handle underneath her title there before? She had...
I hope so.
Yeah, good. All right, well, everybody go follow her. We'll be seeing more of her soon.
Yeah, I think that what I really like is she has the experience, and when she was sharing, we're going to have to put her. We'll have to clip her interview from Grand Prairie, but she really has a handle on what her generation, and she's a millennial, needs. And it just, I don't know, we have to get there. Those moms.
It'd be wonderful to wake them up a little earlier than I woke up, that's for sure.
Yeah. I think Shawn woke up when he was born.
Well,
so
Eric, that's not a good thing, because the problem with having awareness about how the world really is then you have awareness about how the world really is. So and it's burdensome. Wouldn't it be nice to be ignorant some days, and not to other people, just ignorant about what's really going on?
Yeah, I was watching a documentary on kind of a history of malls in North America, and the nostalgia was painful for the 80s and the 90s. Canada seemed like a really plain, nice place. We were heading nice places. We were doing nice things. Everybody liked us. I didn't think we were too harmful. Made me long for those days. Go down to the mall and play Pac-Man for a couple hours. Get a slushie.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So we've still lost Eric then. So
Eric's popping in and out. He's got a power outage. So he's just come back from that. What we will do is watch a little bit of the action from the second reading yesterday in Parliament, our very successful reading. I think first we should hear a little bits of the debates that were going on. Let's see who we got here. Leslyn Lewis. Everybody likes Leslyn Lewis.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Resuming debate. Please do the bath. The honourable member for Alderman Norfolk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There are a few issues, Mr. Speaker, over the last few years that I've heard consistently so much about. And this is not just in my riding of Alderman Norfolk. This is across the entire country. Among those are cost of living, erosion of freedom, and individual choice, ranked very high at the top. The bill that we're debating today goes to the very heart of the fundamental concerns that Canadians are raising. Mr. Speaker, this bill is not just about natural health care products. It is about freedom of choice. And it is also about affordability and whether Canadians can still afford the basic essentials that they have always counted on every single day. I'm not sure that most members of this House have experienced a time when they have been without a doctor, or when they have, I know that they've experienced waking up and potentially having a cold or a sore throat or a cough, and they've possibly considered using vitamins to fight that cold, or purchasing some sort of alternative care such as vitamin C or echinacea, or even drinking medicinal tea. Those common remedies are not uncommon products. These are part of ordinary Canadian life. The question that many Canadians have written to my office to ask is, why is it that the government is treating small Canadian vitamin brand businesses like high-risk pharmaceutical manufacturers? Mr. Speaker, Conservatives are not against regulation. There's a place for wise and precise government regulation. Regulations are meant to protect Canadians, to reduce the risk of harm, and to provide the necessary guardrails against misuse and abuse. But regulations must be proportionate. With little regulation, people obviously could get harmed. But with too much regulation, government moves from protection to control. It begins to dictate free choices, saddles businesses with red tape, and distorts the marketplace. Innovation becomes stifled, and Canadians' businesses ultimately suffer. And Canadians lose choice while paying higher price costs. When products disappear, choice shrinks. When compliance costs rise, prices increase. When domestic producers exit, foreign competitors fill that gap. Unfortunately, Canadians are seeing this pattern across multiple sectors: housing, agriculture, natural resources, and energy. Government red tape has already cost Canadian businesses over $50 billion every single year. Small and medium-sized businesses, which are the backbone of our economy, they bear the heaviest burden. And ultimately, Canadians pay the price. We must also consider this.
I tell you, Leslie Lewis keeps showing up in a nice light. She seems to have Canadians' best interests at heart, and to some degree.
Yeah, she was also publishing on the cloned meat issue.
Amazing. Yeah, good point. And we got to play the most important one of all.
Well, I know I only have 1 minute left, even though there's a good 15 minutes left in the second hour of debate. Mr. Speaker, I do want to say some thank yous. If you'll permit me to, even if I go a little bit longer. I want to say thank you to the Natural Health Product Protection Association, specifically Shawn and Teresa Buckley, for their continued advocacy for freedom of choice for Canadians on this issue and so many more. Thank you so much for the work that you do. To the Canadian Health Food Association, particularly Jules, Sonia, and Wenjing, thank you so much for the work that you do and advocating on behalf of the retailers and the entire industry, the producers, retailers, everybody. But most importantly, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank Canadians who are watching right now. Like I said, 80% of Canadians use these natural health products, and it's your support for your own right to choose your health outcomes. You were the ones that signed those cards that we all got. You are the ones that signed the petitions. You are the ones that wrote the emails. You were the ones that made the calls to MPs' offices, and you've changed the tide on this debate in this country, and your House should be responding to you. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm looking very much forward to the continuation of this bill as it goes through the legislative process. I want to thank everybody that's been supportive. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
It's amazing to watch a seasoned politician at work.
Can I just, comment, because he said something that everyone needs to hear. Because, he made a point of facing the camera and speaking to Canadians and saying, and remember I said earlier in the show, I I think that MP Blaine Calkins was concerned that this bill wouldn't pass because the Liberals were opposing the bill, and then just learned yesterday that the Liberals had changed their mind. Well, why did they change their mind? They changed their mind because you were sending letters, because you were making calls, because you were mailing letters, because you were meeting with your MPs, because you were making your voice heard. And so I think that you need to understand how powerful you are. You know, Teresa, tell us the story about the 10 letters.
Oh, well, when we were speaking with Blaine, and he was talking about the impact that the Canadian public can have and the NHPPA community, he said if he gets 10 letters or 10 correspondences, 10 emails a week on one particular subject for more than, say, 2 or 3 weeks, that he said he's taking that to the floor. And I'm, well, what does that mean? I don't understand. Well, he's taking it seriously. I thought that they would be contacted all the time by a whole bunch of people complaining about whatever. But apparently we just complain to each other, and maybe we don't actually complain to them, or maybe we don't give them a positive or a solution to the problem. But it was amazing. He said 10. Only 10.
To be clear, that's 10 physical letters he was talking about.
No, I think he was even talking about calls or communication.
He was talking about 10.
Okay, I always
10
thought that meant letters.
No,
probably
10 touches.
A couple letters might move the needle. That's incredible. And then taking it to the floor means he'll actually think about preparing a speech with his time and speaking about it in Parliament. That's what he means.
Yes, that he's like ding 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 ding. This is now something to pay attention to.
Wow.
Like I don't know. I don't understand. Like what? I mean, that was shocking to me. So I think sometimes we're just so deflated, and we think that we don't and can't make a difference, or what can we do? Or, I'm only one voice or whatever. It's like, you know what? Just keep nagging at them.
No wonder we're getting results.
Oh, so can I share, so in the Bible, Jesus was sharing a parable about basically an evil judge. Okay, so this wasn't a just judge. This was a guy that didn't care about dispensing justice. But there's this widow that, needs the judge to help her, and she won't leave him alone. Like, he might dismiss her case, and she's back the next day and back the next day and back the next day. And Jesus said, even though this guy doesn't care about justice, he's gonna solve her problem just so that she leaves him alone. And I mean, he's making the point, God's just and wants to help you, so petition him. But the same with MPs. Like, the point Teresa's making is that hardly anyone communicates with them. We're dealing with a life and death issue. And I mean, if we all become passionate about this and just say, no, I'm going to be like that widow that just will not leave my MP alone, will not leave the health minister alone, will not leave the prime minister alone. I'm just going to keep at this. That's actually how we win. I mean, and that's how this Bill 224 got into committee, was because enough of us kept sending letters, kept communicating.
These are my notes.
Yeah. Let's make that big. Voila. Do stuff.
No, just do stuff.
That's the new catchphrase. Tell people to tell people and do stuff.
Do stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm reminded again.
Yeah.
I'm reminded again of Gandhi. Shawn made us watch Gandhi, and I'm reminded again of that. He'd get arrested, and the Brits would think that they're shutting the whole thing down, arrest the leader, and then we'll make a deal, and everything will go back to normal and we'll do business. And he refused to comply with any deals offered, refused to be, we'll let you out, but we'll do this and we'll do that, we'll give you that. And he'd say no. And we'll come back again stronger tomorrow. He never acquiesced and always kept complaining. And it just reminded me of that again, Shawn.
Yeah. So so I made everyone on this, that's right now on the screen, and I said, come on, let's watch Gandhi. It's gonna
twist my arm.
It's going to help you. And I would suggest everyone out there, watch the movie Gandhi. If you haven't watched it, you need to. And if you did watch it, it was 30 years ago when it came out, and you've forgotten how much difference just standing on principle consistently can make. And it will help you in this fight. And it'll help you through these times.
Yep. There's a bloody mindedness to it that we have to take on. We're not going to win everything. As everyone in chat knows, there's a lot of, we need WIS, I think we need wins. Finally, a good news post. We've been struggling, right? For months. We've been working hard. The promise of something to happen, and we're filling out petitions and sending letters. The idea that we might make a change. And you have to go for quite a while of struggle before you're going to see anything positive. And the point is to not do it expecting the positive gain. I sent my letter. Now everybody's going to vote for the bill that I sent the letter about. It's to keep doing it despite the fact that we're not going to get the reward right away. Do stuff, and here we are. We've got to win. We're not done yet. It's going to committee. It's not law yet or anything, but we've got a win to post. And we saw from Blaine Calkins in Parliament looking at the camera. I love that guy. That guy, he is great at what he does. He addressed Parliament. He thanked you. He thanked, I guess, someone from
CHFA.
Was up in the galley. And then turned directly, he knows where the camera is, and told the people that it was the letters. Everybody's been getting these letters. Everybody sitting there that night knows which letters he's talking about and knows where they came from. And we kept doing that. We kept asking you to do it, and we kept doing it, not knowing what's going to happen. But look, it worked. We're going to get wins. They're going to take a while, but we're going to get them. But we're not going to get them if we don't do anything, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think also it's funny is a lot of people feel discouraged, and I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes I feel discouraged too.
Really?
So I know it's hard to believe, Teresa, because I had it so well at home. That was a joke. So it's just every time you turn around, there's this bill, there's C9 on censorship, there's this, there's that. It's, we don't seem to be making any progress, blah, 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 blah. And that the world truly seems to be falling apart. And the world truly seems to be falling apart because the world truly is falling apart. But where I want to go is, and, the Bible tells us that a book was written about each one of you. And whether you accept this or not, this is still going to resonate with you. That a book was written about you, that basically you have a path to walk. It's called a destiny. And if you accept that you have a destiny, that there's actually some steps that you're supposed to take, and that was written before you were created, then it means that you were created for this time. You were created for these troubles, not to be afraid of them. You were actually designed and purposed to be here to experience this because you're needed. Not just to experience it, but to actually walk the path that you're supposed to walk, which means making a positive difference. And, if you kind of look at it that way, then all of a sudden it's not daunting. It's like, well, yeah, this is your game. This is your time. This is your purpose, is to be here to make a difference. And it's what I like about the NHPPA, because I loved what Blaine Calkins said there when he said it was you making the difference. because it's you making the difference. And we're just here to help you. We kind of enable you to do that. We're going to be asking you to all of a sudden get involved in another campaign that we're kind of launching right now, because you can make a difference. We'll talk about that a little later, but I think it's probably time for the feed.
I'm feeling that way myself. How about you, Eric?
As long as my internet connection holds up, it's
power is stable. All right. Well, let's get some the feedback on the feed. Eric, what's going on socials this week?
Well, outside it's cold and it's icy, and I'm still recovering from Mexico, where I went down to a conference a couple of weeks back. So that included discussion on natural health modalities, plasma technology, a whole bunch of other topics.
It also included
managed to throw out my favorite NHP oregano oil. I was talking to people about that, and a lot of people had the sore throat infection and stuff. So I was passing around my oregano oil, and it seemed to do the trick.
You made some oregano converts?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that period also included us up here wondering if you were okay, because you were in Puerto Vallarta, which was exploding.
That's it. It was a bit of a crazy time. The whole week was great, and then the last day, I guess, turned into a bit of chaos, but it all worked out fine. 2 days extra in Mexico because of the airport closing, and so that was okay though. I had 2 days extra of sunshine. So yeah, the good news, as we know, is that Bill C-224 has been passed, and of course it was quite a shock. Well, to me, probably to you guys too. But anyways, congratulations to all of you for sending out the electronic letters, the social media posts, and even calling the MPs to insist that they vote in favor. And as Teresa was just saying, Blaine Calkins was saying, even 10 physical letters makes a difference. So future campaigns, we should probably aim for 10 physical letters each. And we'll probably make a big splash. So there's lots of passionate, fiery comments on the 224 campaign. This is before it was passed, so a lot of people are pretty passionate about it. Marconiez says, completely nuts. Vitamin D3, B12, C at traditional dosages should remain on regular store shelves. Sinahan says, oh, those big pharma companies really want control. I remember my chiropractor once was able to order an x-ray, and government took that ability away from them. Is that true? They can't order an x-ray? I didn't know that. Canadian Karma says, Health Canada must be disbanded. A new democratic version should be formed, one where the heads of it are elected every 4 years. Because the current regime works for Big Pharma, which means they are working against Canadians' right to self-health care. So it's not a bad idea, elected every 4 years. RHC Consulting, this isn't the first time. Years ago, Big Pharma got government to demand DIN numbers for vitamins, knowing the cost would cripple many smaller vitamin companies. Sort of like Shoppers Drug, a tobacco company subsidy, wanting to be the only ones distributing cigarettes. Imagine that, a pharmacy selling cigarettes for your health, of course. Cape Breton says, it's almost like the government works for Big Pharma and not the voters. Does seem to be the case.
What?
We also did receive a couple of opposing views, accusing the industry of exploitation. Your Snippy News says, the world has been ripped off by the natural health industry for years. And Forced, another one, calls the NHPPA the Snake Oil Protection Society. I actually thought that was kind of funny because snake oil or snake venom is actually used in pharmaceuticals. Haven't heard about it being used in natural health products. So there's that.
SOPS. SOPS.
SOPS, right?
That'll be our new name. Yeah.
Sounds good. Lots of folks were letting us know they took action on the C-224 campaign.
Oh, can I just, it's interesting.
Yeah.
The word snake oil, right? Because that was the word, the phrase basically means something that doesn't work. And, I'm mindful of Marcia Angel, who is, if she's not still the editor, I think she's still the editor of the New England Journal of Medicine. She's a medical doctor, and she was been, on the editorial staff and the lead editor for the New England Journal of Medicine for a long, long, long time, like decades. And she wrote a book, I think called, I know the word corruption was in there, and it was basically about how the pharmaceutical industry has, captured doctors and captured the medical research. And I invite everyone to Google the New York Book Review, Marcia Angel, and they've got a 2 or 3 page write-up about this book. And in it, she's quoted as saying something, and this will be close to what she says. But she says she comes to this conclusion reluctantly after, being a journal editor at the New England Journal of Medicine for a long period of time. But she says that most of the published medical research and the medical guidelines, so, doctors, you show up with having a heart attack in the hospital, excuse me, they have medical guidelines. She says most of the published research and the medical guidelines, basically, it's not true. It's you can't believe it. And so when they and there's expert after expert after expert that just so calls into question the efficacy of the chemical drugs. So when you use a pejorative term like snake oil for natural health products, I think that you'd need to expand. Wonder what terms you'd use for the chemical drugs. And really the problem is, and what we want is let's have an honest health dialogue. So let's look at the risks, let's look at the benefits of all products. But when you structure our drug laws so that it's basically impossible for to get a drug for a serious health condition passed unless it is a novel chemical with a patent, I'm sorry, that's madness. Under any measure, you're not going to get good health outcomes. So, I appreciate the comment, because we're all, we're free to disagree, and we actually get to a stronger place by having disagreements and discussing them. But I think that person was just deliberately trying to needle us.
Probably, yeah. So besides that, there was a lot of folks letting us know how they took action on the C-224 page on the NHPPA website. So Grassroots Free says, just phoned my MP to support Bill C-224. Not much time left. Sweet Tweeter 5 says, please help us support Bill C-224. And Nancy Victoria says, I hope you'll be supporting Bill C-224, Elizabeth May. Debbie says, if you don't contact your government official, no matter who it is, your voice will definitely not be heard. So persistence and numbers. If they choose not to represent all the people, then that's on them. But you have at least done your part. So it's awesome to see so many people engaged. And of course, today it's all smiles and hearts and many thank yous from our supporters. So we thank you as well. Letty sums it up with this comment. Finally, some common sense is prevailing. Because quite honestly, why is this even an issue? How on earth they can gaslight Indigenous people again? How are they going to ban people growing medicinal herbs in their gardens? Are they going to employ people to visit our gardens and then fine us? So on behalf of the NHPPA, thank you to everyone who got involved. We've also been posting excerpts from some of the speakers that we've interviewed on the World's Greatest Health Show and various interviews and talk forum. So we've had a few comments about that. I mean, there's so many, I can't read them all, but just a few from Skyfire. She says, no, they are not protecting us. Why can't we have the rights as a human being to have real food, have the right to not be poisoned every day? I feel Canada has the most toxic food supply. I just want to feel well and be here for my kids. But what Health Canada is doing is killing us. On Dracula says surgery, medical devices, or pharmaceuticals. That's basically all centralized medicine offers. If you want to consider other options, you have to look at alternative practitioners. Do your own research. Look for alternative opinions. You can't outsource your own health. So that's, we've got so many more, but I'll just stop there. We did have a comment. Somebody asked, why don't we actually mention the actual products that people have used? In some of the interviews, we sort of talk about it, but the specific products haven't been mentioned. So maybe we can try and do a bit more of that. Any comment on that? Anybody? Shawn, what do you think?
Well, sure. So first of all, you have to understand that some people won't be interviewed because they don't even want the product incidentally identified because they're afraid that Health Canada will take it away. Some people are afraid to mention a specific product because they don't want Health Canada to go after that product. Some people, we have people that won't. They have great stories. They won't share them at all because they're worried about that. We've had, especially during the health show, like we had stores and manufacturers say, man, we sure appreciate what you're doing, but we can't be publicly associated with you in any way, or we're going to be attacked by Health Canada. So first of all, understand that some people are legitimately afraid of having products that they rely on identified. So, so please keep that in mind. I know that when I interview people, I'm happy to have them share the product. And in some of the interviews, they do. And in some, the brand doesn't really matter. Like I'm thinking about, Marion, who was working at Health Canada at the time, and basically St. John's wort saved her life. Well, it's not brand specific, right? Or I forget the lady's name who had restless leg syndrome, the young mom that basically couldn't sleep and was losing the ability to care for her kids. And the medical doctor wanted to put her on a Parkinson's drug, saying, well, we don't have a drug for restless leg, so I'll put you on a Parkinson's drug. And the solution for her when she went to see a naturopathic doctor was just magnesium. Well, again, the brand doesn't matter. So either the brand doesn't matter on some of these things, or, the person is afraid of losing that specific product. But, we'll keep that in mind. But just so you know that, like, I love people sharing the specific product. And whenever they're willing to do that, I'll try and make a mental note to get them to do that, because that helps you. I mean, if I'm listening and I have that problem and somebody says, oh, I use this specific product of this brand, I think that would be more helpful for me. So we'll keep that in mind. That's a great question to bring up, Eric.
Also, to your point,
sorry, Eric, go ahead.
To your point about mentioning the specific companies, well, as soon as some of those companies get into the media, into the news, they get shut down by Health Canada, right? So, for example, True Hope, I think there was another company that as soon as they got some publicity, then
we had Jason Watkins was a speaker at the health show, and the company then was Biomedica, and he made it clear as soon as there was good press, actually coming from doctors, then bang, they're attacked by Health Canada and raided, and their products seized, and clearly that happened to Strauss, and clearly that happened to True Hope. We had Anthony Stefan as a speaker. So there's a couple of speakers that people can watch at the health show where that's exactly what happened. With True Hope, it was actually on the national news. That was back in the day when the anchor for CTV was Lloyd Robertson. Yep. And one of their lead stories was all this promising double-blind clinical trial. being run in Children's Hospital in Calgary, and the next day they're shut down, and the next day the trial's shut down. We had Dr. Bonnie Kaplan, who was the head of the behavioral research unit running that trial, who's a speaker at the health show. So, yeah, no, it's real. If there's media about you, if Health Canada comes to know that you're helping people, that's not a place you want to be.
And this was 4 months ago. They're still doing it. Just to put a button on it,
right?
You can see why the fear is real. That was
that's Ezra Healing in Kelowna.
Yeah.
So, so here's the funny thing: is I think of Ezra Healing as a great source of things like ivermectin, right? And we'll just stop at ivermectin. So many Canadians want to access ivermectin that I'm not even looking for black market sources, but I could just go through a list of them because there's such a demand by Canadians for what is likely the safest drug on the planet. I mean, the World Health Organization itself has likely, given 5 billion doses in the third world because it's so effective for parasites and has had such a tremendous impact. But, we all know, and we've learned that it's tremendously effective as an antiviral. It's tremendously effective. It seems to be extremely promising as an anti-cancer. And in Canada, so I recently checked because I was writing an article for Vitalité, the English Vitalité, which is separate than the French Vitalité. And the only pill form, so there's a couple of creams, ivermectin creams that are approved, but the only ivermectin capsule approved in Canada is, Merck. And it's only approved to treat 2 parasites, which Canadians are not likely to get. Now, doctors, of course, would be free in Canada to prescribe it off-label, but it's crazy that it's prescription. In most of the world, it's not prescription, and it's given out by health authorities for free because, governments in the know want their citizens taking it. But here, it's prescription because Canada, not only do we have the most toxic food supply in the world, but we have the most vicious drug regulations. So things that we should be having access, they prevent us more than I think any other country. So ivermectin in Canada is only available by prescription. And doctors, like in the province that I'm in, Alberta, but I've personally interviewed under oath doctors that were disciplined for prescribing ivermectin off-label use. So probably in Canada, even if you had one of the approved parasites and tests to prove it, a doctor would be afraid to write a script for ivermectin. For fear of being disciplined. And so, Ezra Healing, what that story is about, I mean, I'm personally proud of them. I feel that they're, ethically filling a need that is being denied to us. And that, every Canadian, in the third world, ivermectin's called Sunday, so that everyone remembers to take it on Sunday. And I think, in my opinion, every Canadian should be taking ivermectin at least once a week as because it just does so many wonderful things. So,
isn't it wild how they turned it into a dirty word instantly like that? Just like that. It became horse-based.
2021, that happened there, 22.
Yeah. Wild to watch.
So for Edward and Bob, who made those comments, that's the reason, and we'll try and ask people what they're actually using in future interviews. And that's about it. That's where we're at. I'll have much more to report next month with all the other different campaigns, but wanted to keep it short tonight since we had quite a lot of other discussion to take care of.
Yeah, we're heading into busy season again. We had a nice little break. We had our tour. We had Christmas. Now we got 224 and much more action coming up, which I believe leads us nicely into the Buckley Unfiltered section. Shawn, I'm guessing you have a few things you want to talk to everyone about tonight.
No, not a thing.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll be back here 2 nights a week, 2 shows on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about, we've talked about 224 and, congratulated you on, getting it into committee. And wow. We are going to be inviting you in the near future to participate in some campaigns. So we're going to want you to be communicating with the Standing Committee on Health, likely by inviting you to submit briefs. And, we'll teach you about that. There are certain rules and requirements. But what happened last time it was in committee, and this is just my opinion, but I looked at who was filing briefs. So, the NHPPA filed a brief, but the briefs in favor of the bill were far outnumbered by briefs against the bill. And again, this is just my opinion, but in my opinion, many of the organizations filing the briefs are really just front organizations for the pharmaceutical industry. And I was actually amazed. Like, here we're just moving us back to where we were. Like, I'm sorry, essential nutrients like vitamin D and vitamin C shouldn't be regulated under the same category as the most dangerous of drugs like Vioxx and thalidomide. It's just madness. And in fact, we should be promoting people's access to essential nutrients that they actually need, not just to be healthy, but to stay alive. Like it's a little bit of madness there. But the number of briefs against the bill and, raising issues like vulnerable youth, none are going to be left alive because of the perils of nicotine, which had nothing to do with this at all. But clearly, knowing that this bill was coming and the powers that be, including the pharmaceutical companies, wanting Health Canada to have this stranglehold on natural health products and natural healers telling the truth, sharing truthful information. They had to create some narrative, some way of defeating this bill. It's going to happen again. So we're going to be having a whole bunch of these briefs filed by organizations that have nothing to do with natural health products and the regulation of natural health products. And I'm hoping we're learning, and we're going to be inviting, you and others to be filing briefs, even if it's just explaining how your lives depend on them or your health depends on them. So we'll help you with that. But congratulations. But, be aware that we're really going to have to pay attention on this committee. And, we may have you write the committee members saying, if you have amendments, if you're thinking of amendments, like, please bring them forward as quickly as possible. Because in the last parliament, all of you waited until, the very last moment when there was, no one could speak to them. And that's not very democratic. And we don't appreciate you having that stranglehold. And we would like, as the public that have supported this bill, to be aware of any efforts to sabotage it. So we haven't sorted out those campaigns yet. But something else is happening. This is a crazy week. So Bill 224 gets past second reading into committee. Well, remember, we just had the health charter tour. We literally drove the third largest paper petition to be filed in the House of Commons in Canadian history across the country. And when Pierre was here, he was sharing how Marie-Lise, was touring in Quebec as the Quebec leg of the tour and collected an additional over 4,000 new signatures in Quebec. We had MP Blaine Culkin submit those to the clerk of petitions to be counted. And, a whole bunch were disallowed. And that's just the way it is, because there's really specific rules. They're public rules. And, if they're not adhered to, those pages get thrown out. But notwithstanding that, a large number of signatures didn't get counted. The clerk of petitions verified 157,057. Isn't that interesting? 157,057. So 157,057 petitions were verified by the clerk of petitions. We're clearly the third largest in Canadian history. And now those petitions are going to be tabled tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Eastern. So anyone can get up and watch it. MP Blaine Calkins is going to table those petitions. Now, those petitions are calling upon the government to pass the Charter of Health Freedom into law. Now, when a petition is tabled in Parliament, the government has an obligation to respond. Now, there isn't a time frame, but the government could respond right away. So we have launched, and we're inviting you to participate, starting tonight, starting tomorrow, and just keep doing it. Do it for weeks. Send an e-letter a day for weeks. So, so we have a campaign. I don't know if you can pull that up. There we go. Take action immediately. Thank you that's so clear. So we've got an e-letter, and it's government that's being targeted here. So it's the Liberal MPs that are being targeted. And so we've set up this campaign. It's a simple e-letter. It's easy for you to do. We will set it up so that, also you have the option of printing the letter off, and faxing it and mailing it. We're definitely inviting you to call your MP. And if you're going, I don't know what talking points, go to we've got the Charter campaign. We have materials there. We've got the Charter website, and we'll add to this campaign. It's just, we just learned yesterday that it was going to be tabled tomorrow. So get involved. Let's do this. But this is important. When you think about this, we've just had the government, we've just had the Liberal Party agree to move Bill 224 into committee. So that means they're aware that our access to natural remedies is super important. That Charter of Health Freedom would solve this problem. It would solve their political headache. And, we want them to respond favorably to this. So it's just a wonderful opportunity for us to keep this momentum going. And, the first two largest paper petitions ended up in changes to the law. So the largest paper petition was calling for an enactment of a Bill of Rights in Canada, and that led to the Canada Bill of Rights. The second largest paper petition was calling for universal health care, and that resulted in universal health care. The third largest paper petition in Canadian history is calling for the enactment of the Charter of Health Freedom, and let's get the Charter of Health Freedom enacted. Now, the first two largest paper petitions in Canadian history were backed by political parties and organizations of some size. This paper petition is a grassroots petition where really it was just individuals and health food stores taking it upon themselves. For years during this petition, the NHPPA was just, a shell because we had zero funding, and we're doing hardly anything. So this is the largest grassroots paper petition in Canadian history. And because it's grassroots, government should pay more notice than the other two petitions. And with that, I will end Buckley Unfiltered, but just say congratulations to you that here we are entering the third largest paper petition in Canadian history because you had them signed and you sent them in to us. And congratulations to you for making history with having a private member's bill making it into committee for the second time. I think that's only happened once before in Canadian history with Bill C-420, also dealing with natural health products.
Incredible. We'll do a little article next week summing up private members' bills and just how rare this is. And I'll do the research. I'll find out about that for you, Shawn, and we'll put that in there. I think over the history of Canada, there's something like only 150 bills that have made it this far, let alone becoming laws. So we're in the rare air here. We've really done well. In case you didn't notice, there's a QR code. If you scan that with your phone or take a screenshot, that'll take you right to the page to go send your e-letter right now to the government and the Standing Committee on Health ahead of them considering it. Let them know again how important this is to you. So scan the QR code.
Can I also bring up one more thing, Jason?
Of course.
So also, so we do this health show. And, you know, for those of you who didn't watch it, like it's available on the NHPPA site. But that site wasn't designed. And so just for the importance of this, I mean, we have people sharing their health journey where it's clear they were going to die, relying on the mainstream medical system, that there were no options, or it was clear they were horribly disabled, or it was clear they were going to be horribly disabled and then die. Like some of the stories are just crazy. And it's so important that people that are suffering with no way out in the mainstream medical system, that they come to understand that there's a solution. Like, don't lose hope, keep looking, you're going to find it. And this person found it here, and this person found it there, and that person found it there. Because the reality is that for a large number of Canadians, they are chronically sick and suffering in the mainstream medical system, which is not allowed to cure. It's an allopathic system. We've outlawed the other healing traditions. The government healthcare system is allopathic. That model does not seek to cure you. That model is there to manage symptoms going forward. Well, I've been doing this now for 32 years, saying out loud, Health Canada, when the mainstream medical system is failing us, we have to have an alternative. We have to have some options to us so that we can find a way out of this suffering. Now, sadly, Health Canada has listened to that appeal. And now, you know, I don't know, is it the third leading cause of death in Canada now is government-assisted suicide under this MAID program. So what's occurring is when people don't have a way out under the medical system, well, we'll give you drugs that are designed to end your life. So now your option is end your life. But whatever you do, we as Health Canada will ensure, we will do everything we can to make sure that you can't take a natural remedy, that you can't try it, even if it doesn't work. We'll give you drugs that to end your life. In fact, we'll encourage you, we'll push you as hard as we can for you to end your life, because my gosh, you're suffering under the approved treatments in our medical system. But by God, we'll do everything that we can. We swear we will do everything we can to ensure that you can't access a natural remedy because it's not approved for your condition. Let's ignore that we've rigged the system so you can't get approval, that we've basically made it illegal to try and treat anything serious with anything but surgery and chemical drugs that had a patent when they were approved. We are giving you another option now, we Health Canada. We will kill you with drugs specifically designed to kill you. But don't you think for a moment that you can take a natural health product. We'll protect you from that. We'll do everything we can to protect you from accessing a natural health product that's not approved. Again, it can't be approved. We've rigged the system. But we will end your suffering with death. Well, that's madness. And we've got this health show we've got all these wonderful testimonies that could really free people. We need people to see it. And we've posted them on the NHPPA.org site, but it's insufficient. It's not designed for that. And we're going to be doing another health show, hopefully within a couple of months, depending on how us finding witnesses go, on a different topic that's as important on the food topic. We need to build another website. We need some outside help for that. And, the estimate right now is I think about 10,000 plus, our in-house costs of, people like Jason and Eric rendering the videos and getting them ready and the like for that site. So we're going to be doing a fundraiser. So I just, I did want to remind people, we're only here because you're supporting us financially, and truly encourage you to continue to support us financially, and hopefully, with monthly commitment. So I don't think there's a leaner outfit than ours. And it looks like my internet's getting throttled, so I'll stop there.
Okay, so as you guys can see, all you got to do is go to nhppa.org/donate. We're about to gear up on some new campaigns, as Shawn just alluded to, and we want to make an accompanying website. There's a lot going on, and we need your help. We rely on you.
Yeah, we really do, because we need to reach more people. I can tell you we're so frustrated. There's so many things we want to do, but we don't have the resources. And so we're doing everything that we can. But there's a lot of frustration because, there are lives on the line here, and our basic freedoms are on the line.
Yeah.
And we seem to be the tip of the spear. And we need help.
If I can just add to that, Shawn, I think this is just, and I'll just talk a little bit about volunteering. We're in the process of getting our volunteers teams captains ready, Susan and Rita, and we'll have real targeted actions that you'll be able to do to help out. Everything helps. Everything counts. Go to the website, sign up to be a volunteer, please. And if it does take a while to get back, for us to get back to you, please just be patient. But as far as the two things that are happening at the same time, I mean, it took me a while to get my head wrapped around. We've got C-224 in committee now, and then tomorrow morning we've got the charter. It's being presented. So there's going to be a lot of action that we're going to need to do. So this is the time that we tell people to tell people. This is the time that you engage your different groups. If you're a group leader, this is the time that you engage your health food store, get them active. This is the time that you educate yourself. If you're not clear on what the Charter of Health Freedom is about, go to the website. There's Shawn's done some great videos to just kind of break it down in a very easy chunk size way to kind of understand what it is. And, just don't be afraid to have these conversations with people. I'm so inspired by Kyla. I mean, she just talks on social media and she gets, people are hungry for this information. So don't be afraid. Go forward, share the information, get dialed in, support us financially, any bit, even if like $10 a month, reoccurring donor, that's something. It's like a cup of coffee or like half a French fry these days. It all helps. So please, just, you know what, and enjoy the win. I mean, there's so much negativity that's going on now, and it's hard to not go down particular rabbit holes, but enjoy this win. We don't have to understand why. We don't have to pick apart the perhaps a little few chess pieces that may be going in the background. Doesn't matter. This is going to help save lives. This is going to help educate people. This is going to help the moms get educated about how they can help their children. So we just encourage you to come along, join us, and it's going to be a good ride. Mm-hmm.
In the spirit of that, I think what's important now is I'm sure there are plenty of our supporters, subscribers, followers, activists that generally just assume or had a brief glance at the charter and just assume that it's fantastic. Now, I think, is the time that we all have to get very learned on the charter, because we're about to present the third biggest petition in Canadian history tomorrow, and it's going to become a news item. It's going to become something to talk about. Each of us should become experts on the charter, if I may be so bold.
If I can just add, this is actually a very safe topic to have your local media talk about. Like, I think this one will be a hard one for them to ignore.
Well, that's
so let's
it.
not be afraid to call and nag them. And if they ignore you, don't worry about it. Just call them again. Just nag, 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 nag. It's all okay.
Now, for NHPPA University, did you want to play part of that charter vid?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
The Charter of Health Freedom is the solution to protect your access to natural health products permanently, and we need your support to make it happen. But before we can properly explain the solution, we need to help you understand the problem. Imagine a future where your access to natural health products such as vitamins, minerals, herbs, and homeopathic remedies is severely restricted. Health Canada's self-care framework has imposed stringent pharmaceutical-style regulations on the natural health industry. As a result, products and businesses are gradually vanishing, forcing Canadians to depend even more on pharmaceutical drugs and stripping away our freedom of choice in how we manage our health. But this doesn't have to be our future. Ask yourself, do you trust Health Canada to fairly regulate natural health products and traditional medicines? History shows us that Health Canada has repeatedly attempted to introduce regulations that would restrict our access to vital and critical natural health products and force small and medium-sized companies out of business without improving safety in this already safe industry. Each instance of successfully challenging Health Canada's initiatives has shown us that it's only a matter of time before similar laws are proposed again. So how do we break free from this cycle and protect the natural health industry once and for all? The solution is the Charter of Health Freedom. Drafted by constitutional lawyer Shawn Buckley, this proposed legislation will achieve 3 critical goals. Number 1, create a separate legal category for natural health products and traditional medicines, removing them from the restrictive Food and Drugs Act.
So what's happening is the Charter of Health Freedom is taking the regulation of all of these treatment modalities and moving it from the Food and Drug Act and Health Canada and moving it to being regulated under the Charter of Health Freedom.
Number 2, form a Ministry of Wellness to exclusively manage natural health products, moving this responsibility away from the Ministry of Health and Health Canada, which will continue to oversee conventional medicine. The role of the Ministry of Wellness will be to both protect and promote access to natural health products in Canada.
Because under this act, natural health products, traditional practices, low-risk healing modalities are all going to be regulated, not by Health Canada, but by a new Ministry of Wellness. Because Health Canada is regulating novel chemicals that have never been in our food supply, and there's a tremendous risk. And they have to approach that with extreme caution, almost paranoia, just to try and protect us. And the protocol and the rationale and the culture is not appropriate to actually protecting and promoting access to not only low risk, but treatment modalities that we actually want to encourage people to be taking.
Number 3, empower the Ministry of Wellness to address safety concerns such as fraud and adulteration while respecting our rights and freedoms and ensuring access to high-quality natural health products.
we've created this new Ministry of Wellness to actually protect and promote our access to natural health products and other treatment modalities. But for this to actually work, they have to have some powers. And one of the powers they have to have is to protect us against fraud. So this Section 10 makes it illegal to be fraudulent in manufacturing and promoting these products. This is actually very important. It's one thing for us to have our access guaranteed, but we also need to have truthful representations.
The Charter of Health Freedom is a grassroots initiative, and we need your help to make it a reality. We have a goal to gather 250,000 petition signatures to demonstrate to government officials how important this issue is to Canadians. Visit charterofhealthfreedom.org to print your petition kit, available in 3 languages, and start collecting signatures in your community. As Canadians, we don't truly have freedom of choice in how we manage our health if there is restricted access to safe natural health products and traditional medicines. We need a legal foundation to protect the natural health industry from overregulation and safeguard our rights as free citizens. Join us in creating lasting change for Canada. Visit charterofhealthfreedom.org and participate in the solution.
Well, we didn't get to 250,000, but we sure cleared 150.
It's the art of the deal. You set the goal up there, knowing that you need to get to there, and we did it anyway, right? I mean, look, it's a massive success, and it's nice seeing that golden oldie video.
Well, that was that was Shawn 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I think if we get the charter into law, then Shaw's got to agree to get the boy band haircut again.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
He likes
no,
them
I
all.
think that I don't think that would be good for the nation.
you might be right. You might be right. So I want to remind everybody to please repost the stream on your socials as you're watching. Please make sure you subscribe to all of our socials. I'm going to put a banner up and put our handles up here in a second. And Teresa, did you have anything else to close on there? Or?
Well, I think that just really stay tuned to the website, because we're going to be changing things at the speed of science and adding things at the speed of science. I think that one thing that would be really helpful if we kind of flip back to the Bill C-224 is we'll have that briefing that we'll have to post that briefing that Shawn had written that seemed to make an impact with our Liberal MP friends. So wouldn't it be lovely?
Just so you know, is what I did was, because I had to write a briefing note for Liberal MPs. We have on the 224 materials to help you interact with your MP, basically telephone talking points. I just adapted that. So we will post the briefing note so you can share it with your MP. But I really just modified the document that we prepared for you to help you talk to your MP, and just tweaked it slightly. So we've got wonderful materials.
What if we printed that out? And because I think with the Bill C-224, it's about the members that are on that committee. So don't you think that they would appreciate having copies of that briefing? Maybe we should.
I think they would. I wonder if there's any Canadians out there that would be willing to print that off and send that to them.
Well, I think that would be actually very interesting. And it's kind of like tell your 10 friends to tell your 10 friends. Like, I think that would be very, very useful. Maybe. Just an idea.
I can't comment. I'm coughing too much over here.
I'm answering demands for links in the chat. We're not ignoring it, Teresa.
Yeah,
Everybody
no.
Can't
It's
wait
all
to
good
sign
because,
this.
No, because it's like there's like so much content there, and so I think we're gonna have to just really break it down. It's like, okay, for Bill C-224, it's like, here are how many people are in that committee, Shawn? Like 10 or like 8 or?
I think it 10 to 12. I forget now.
So like 12 of our new best friends, and we have their address. It's like, what is it? House of Parliament. And then we just address each one, print it out, I don't know, 10 times, sign
Yeah,
your
you
name?
can't. It has to be a separate envelope. Like the Parliament will not, can't send 10 or 12 and say give it to these people. It has to be a separate envelope. But there's no postage for mail sent to the House of Commons, providing it's not too bulky, right? Like, so your regular letter or postcard, and this briefing note's only like 2 or 3 pages long. But, it is important because it gives the history.
Yeah.
And it gives the context, right down to the United States. Like, and yeah, so it is good. And it gives you talking points also. So,
Well, and they could just write a little note on there. This is really important. Please don't forget about us.
And there you go. That's the Standing Committee of Health.
Oh, okay. I got to get my glasses. This is very
Not
interesting.
many there. So it's
10.
not many people to convince.
Okay. So that's 10. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think they would appreciate the briefing notes.
And it's
I think so.
half liberal. The chair is liberal. And those liberals in that committee and each member of the committee will receive letters if you head off to the URL you see on screen and the QR code you see up above. I know some people are not down with the QR code. So we've got both options. When this broadcast is edited and put back up, we will have the link in the description for you to follow, but it's on screen right now there. And I put it into all the chats that I can broadcast into. So let's assail the Standing Health Committee with a whole bunch of new letters. Make it impossible for them to say no. It already worked once.
Well, and I think at this stage of the game, it's just they're all human beings, and I what I appreciate about what Blaine says is that he uses natural health products. 80% of Canadians use natural health products. So probably 8 of those 10 people there use natural health products.
I find it hard to believe that there would be almost anyone in Canada that doesn't. You take vitamin C at the very least, and there's even the 80% number. I wonder if it's not more, right?
Some people tout higher numbers. Like, we're not in that. We try to be conservative just because, even if you said 70%, that's still pretty significant, right? Yeah. So, I mean, the numbers, everyone knows the numbers high enough that it's like, wait a second. And, we're talking about largely vital nutrients. Like how we can even be in a drug model where it's illegal to sell things that you need to stay alive or be healthy unless the government gives you permission to sell it. Like, let me just say that again, because it just sounds absurd, doesn't it? It's illegal to sell you nutrients that you need to be alive. You'll die without them, or you need them to be healthy. It's illegal to sell those to you without the government's permission. Like, that's absurd. You mean it's illegal to sell you what you need to be alive and healthy without first getting the government's permission? Like that's backwards. That's as polite as I could put it.
But we think that way. I thought that way. And that's the problem.
I mean,
that's the problem.
When I was a lawyer acting for Health Canada against Jim Strauss, and they're telling me, and just so everyone knows, Health Canada waived solicitor-client privilege on that file years ago, so I'm free to talk about it. But I didn't know anything about this, and they're saying, can you believe it? This rogue herbalist, that's the word they used, they called him a rogue herbalist, is selling unapproved treatments. Can you believe it? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. He's selling treatments that are unapproved. I didn't know that you couldn't get approval unless you're a novel chemical with a patent. So they're all unapproved. The whole, and you'll never get approval. It just seems, well, the Kool-Aid tasted good. That's all I'll have to say. It was very refreshing. I was thirsty and it tasted good. And then when I'm acting for him, when they're trying to shut him down, charging him with practicing medicine without a license, And I came to understand, wait a second, this product's saving lives. And I was interacting with people that were only alive because of it. It's like, oh, did I ever have that wrong? Because I had it wrong. So, yeah. So I understand we've all been conditioned to believe that the government's there to help us. But Health Canada is not there for your health. They are responsible for Canada having the most toxic food supply in the world. They are responsible for Canada having the food supply that has the least amount of nutrition, so that we are by design chronically ill by malnutrition and toxicity. And by design, they have structured our drug approval process so that it's only legal in Canada to treat serious health conditions with surgery or novel chemicals. They're not there for our health.
Well, I think we should just start photocopying a whole bunch of those briefing notes.
Well, it's curious. I think the narrative's changing. Like, we were just talking about how many people take natural health products. It's okay. I don't have to be the big screen dude, but I think that things are changing because, first of all, we have the mainstream medical system collapsing. It's overtaxed, and it's collapsing. Teresa and I were in our one of the local health food stores the other day, and just asked, are new people coming? And it's like, yes.
Oh, yeah.
People are coming looking for solutions because they can't find them elsewhere. And people talk, like more and more people are being helped. And then, more and more people are going to get the word out. Like, the reality is, this is life and death. Yeah. This is suffering versus health.
Yeah.
And, this is a season for truth to be revealed.
Yeah.
And we're going to see a backlash, regardless of where you were on the COVID experience or event and vaccination, regardless of what you think about that, because it doesn't matter, there's going to be a backlash over what happened. And so a percentage of the population is going to lose confidence in regulatory bodies such as Health Canada and our mainstream system at a time when, as it's a fact, we've been getting sicker and sicker and sicker. I mean, just how many of our kids are on psychiatric drugs and antidepressants or drugs to treat, autism or ADHD? I mean, it's off the charts, where in earlier generations there were none. Right? Like, so we're getting sicker and sicker and sicker.
Oh, yeah.
While our healthcare system is collapsing and giving, outcomes that are worse and worse and worse. While at the same time, we're pushing state suicide, basically.
Yeah.
The state
Yeah.
And we're pushing it. Like, our medical system has embraced a culture of suffering and death. And eventually, as a group, we're just going to go, wait a second, what's going on? And then finally, we're going to be able to have that honest discussion. How do we get the best health outcomes? So, I'm optimistic.
I am too.
Much easier to be after today.
Well, I am too. I'm encouraged.
So good to get a win. We got to soak up this feeling, and hold it for, who knows, we might get another win in a few weeks. We might have to wait a while. So soak it up when we get it. 100%. Shawn, did you have anything else to close out your unfiltered segment with?
I didn't know we were still on that segment. I thought we had long left that, but
it's become interactive. Just wanted to make sure you got it all off your chest.
Yeah, no, I think I've vented sufficiently that I feel a bit lighter. Sorry, everyone. But it is funny. Like, this health show, I knew it was life and death, but, first of all, a lot of those interviews we pre-taped because we couldn't be on the road and be broadcasting all day. The live events, they were live events. I mean, but most of the rest we had pre-taped, but it was just this rush. And Teresa, I mean, we all, I think, had post-traumatic stress disorder. And as we were going along, I'm doing these openings. Well, my perception of what's going on was changing. I mean, I thought I knew what was going on. I had no idea how much suffering and how bad it was. And I mean, sometimes, I was getting a little fiery. And, I reached the conclusion the leading cause of death, in my opinion, in Canada is Health Canada. And I shared that in those openings. And so I mean, I'm mad. I'm like, there's no other way to describe it. I am angry. I'm angry at all the suffering. I'm angry at all the death. I'm angry at all the censorship. And I'm really angry that, okay, you're right. People need an option when the mainstream systems failed them. So let's murder them. and can I say, just because I've interviewed people under oath on this medically assisted suicide. Yeah. And there's something that really, really troubles me. And we don't know the answer. And what troubles me is we use two drugs. So the first drug we administer paralyzes you. You can't blink. You can't speak. You can't move. You might as well be in a coma. And that's what we tell you you're in. We don't know. Because we haven't put you under that drug without the second drug that kills you, and then asked you afterwards, were you aware?
Yeah.
So we don't know if you're aware. Well, the second drug basically fills your lungs with fluids. You could be drowning and perfectly aware. It could be one of the most horrible deaths possible, which I wouldn't put past the system, because it seems that our object is to torture people as much as we can, create as much suffering before they die as possible.
Yeah.
So, and I just assumed we were giving people morphine overdoses.
Yeah.
If you're going to kill people with drugs, like if you're going to legalize that to end suffering, why are we not just giving you a morphine overdose? We know you're not suffering. How did we possibly conceive this two-drug scheme where we paralyze you, but we don't know if you're aware, and then we drown you? Only in Canada.
I heard we hit we're over 100,000 milestone now. Yay, Canada.
But that number
17,000 last year.
Yeah, it's underreported.
It's a fraud. That number's a fraud.
Because
the people that watch this, so if you're going to check causes of death on a death certificate, which is necessary for it to be counted, you got to check that box. But what we know is that so let's say you have cancer, and then you choose MAID. A lot of doctors are going to check cancer as the cause of death, not MAID. Yeah. And now, in most provinces, they've taken MAID off. So you can't even check the box. We're not even counting.
Yeah.
So that number is a fraud. It's a gross underreporting.
I wonder where they learned how to miscount and misrepresent deaths so efficiently at the national level.
I wonder, Jason.
Maybe they had practice.
Probably just lucky.
Wait a minute.
Jeez. Yeah. So, I mean, even with those crappy numbers, we hit the 100K milestone last year, and 17,000 individuals mated last year in Canada.
There's a spell. There's a spell, and the spell is going to break.
Yeah, it's funny. So this week, Tucker Carlson sent out on social media a request for prayer, that people would pray that the spell would be broken.
Yeah.
Before it's too late.
Yeah.
And isn't that interesting, right? So that Tucker Carlson would be requesting that people pray that the spell be broken. But I actually believe, as he obviously does, that there is a spell that is preventing us from seeing truth. And, you know, most people who have followed Tucker Carlson would know that he wasn't a Christian. But then you watch his video on being attacked in the middle of the night by a demon where he's actually gouged and bleeding. And you'll understand that he's journeyed a little bit since then. But I think we're in that season where the spell is breaking. And I think we're a part of it. I think the charter tour is a part of it.
Yeah.
You'll know if he's on. Sorry, go ahead. You'll know if he's dangerous. They'll start attacking him. They always have, but I mean bad. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean I was shocked. So I watched a video where Tucker Carlson describes basically, you know, he wakes up and he has been gouged, you know, by a demon, and at first he thinks it's he's asleep, and then even in the morning he thinks that it was a dream, except there's blood on his bed, and I guess he still has the scars, and so he phones the old, you know, evangelical Christian on his staff and describes what happened, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you were attacked by a demon," right? Like he was kind of like surprised that it's not uncommon, right? And I know people close to me that have been attacked. So yeah, it's weird. But I've got off point. He sent out a request that people pray to break the spell, and I would echo that.
Unless any further thoughts, I think we should take some questions from the chat. Anybody who's been watching, we've covered a lot. You must have some questions. I know I do, but I'm not in chat, so I don't get to ask them. You're in chat, so you get to ask them. First up, Sherry wants to know what happens now when Carney prorogues Parliament next month to adjust all the committees. Does this bill start all over again?
Can you put the question back up? So, yeah, if an election is called, everything's put on hold. I can't see that Carney's going to have the right to prorogue Parliament otherwise, other short than an election. But the question contains some other truth that's pretty important. So remember earlier in the show, we talked about how there's been another person crossing the floor, and I mistakenly thought it was a Conservative and then was corrected that it was an NDP person. But the Liberals still don't have majority. If they get a majority, so if they become a majority government, then all of the committees are rejigged so that the majority government has a majority of members in each standing committee. So it's a huge power shift. So, you know, right now, because they're not a majority, they don't have the right to have a majority of members in a committee, although it is representative of your number of seats in the House of Commons. So they'll be close to having a majority in committee. So, so if they do get a majority, remember we've got some by-elections coming up in April, or if, one more person crosses the floor, it would dramatically affect the power structure in committees. And remember, the committees get to amend bills. So if you have a majority in the committee, you can add amendments to the bill that you're considering, and then the bill goes back to the House as for third reading as amended. So it's a tremendous amount of power. You have a majority government, and they can gut and destroy any private member's bill that might be in committee. They're not going to gut their own government bills. So so really it gives them effectively a veto in committee over private members' bill, because they can pass amendments that make the bill meaningless.
Right. But, it's not that we're supposed to stop it. We just had 224 pass unanimously due to your pressure. So No reason to not give up, although these technical questions are great because Parliament's complicated.
Can I make a suggestion? Maybe what we should do is just first reach out and thank the Minister of Health. I'm just saying.
Oh, that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
I mean, it's like, why, like, you know, what, I mean,
we did do a thank you campaign for all
I
different
think we need
stripes
to thank the
for the last
Minister of
second
Health.
reading. Yeah.
And we just say thank you very much for supporting this enough to have it go to committee. And
bit of positive
signed
reinforcement.
your 40-year-old female voter, you know, Catherine Smith or whatever. Just it might be an idea, Shawn.
Yeah. Good stuff. Up next, we've got Alchemy of Healing. Do you partner up with young creators on Instagram, TikTok, who are in this niche? The youngins really need to be aware. Timely question for tonight. We just had Kyla on.
Yeah, this is why we've got Kyla, you know, because we see
that's a great question.
Yeah, we see, and maybe Alchemy of Healing wants to lead the charge and help us with that as a volunteer with the Natural Health Product Protection Association.
Well, yeah, that's what you get for asking, Alchemy.
I mean, we're certainly trying to leverage that time with podcasters. Like we're trying very hard to do that because we're a very small group. You see the four of us here. And so, you know, if you have an idea like that, there's no reason why you can't take it upon yourself to be an NHPPA ambassador and start promoting the material to those people. We'll give you the badge and the hat, not a problem.
For next week's newsletter and on all the shows going forward, we're going to have an actual form that any of you can go to fill out and suggest via email, social handles, anybody that you know that you think will be a good guest for us to have on, or a good influencer that can help us grow or has a great take on it, has a large following, has something to add to the conversation. We'll have a form for you to jump to immediately suggest those people to us. Otherwise, go ahead. Ultimately, if you know someone, hit us up a chat right now. It'll get saved and the Post-it note will get stuck on my monitor and we'll follow up. All right. Up next, Teresa Sharon. Shawn, you've been an inspiration for years, but I personally had the pleasure of meeting you and Teresa during the NCI, then a dinner in the Cork and Flame. Thank you for sharing your voice. Not a question, but really sweet and awesome. And I also wanted to point out and a big shout out to Jacinthe, who's been in chat tonight and is watching the show. She was our previous guest on NHPPA Talk Forum, which you can find now on YouTube and our socials. An incredible talk that was. She's doing some bleeding edge natural research into cancer and other health cures. That was really fascinating, and I just wanted to shout her out because she was in and commenting earlier on the chat. Just wanted to make sure you all knew she was there. And not so much question for you, Shawn. Helen wanted to be emailed the letter, so I don't use QR codes. So nhppa.org/subscribe, and you can get the newsletter right away. We'll definitely have a link.
She may want the letter to the. Do you want the briefing?
Yes, so she needs the link. Well, no, this was earlier, so she wants the link to go do the e-letter for the Liberals right now. So that was, you can rewatch the video later. The link will be in the description. It'll be in the newsletter. So nhppa.org/subscribe. There are no excuses. You should be getting the newsletter if you're this into it. It's all going to be all about that. This morning's newsletter had the links to it. So if you were subscribed, you would have got the link this morning before the show. So make sure you're subscribed up. And just another wonderful message here from Erica Carroll. I just texted 20 people the link to the e-letter to support the charter. and they've signed. Yes.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you so
That's
much.
how you do it.
That's telling people to tell people.
Yeah.
Tell people.
That's how you do it. Tell people to tell people.
Now,
If everyone, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to ask. Was it Erica? Is that who it was? Erica? Ask Erica to do a follow-up text to them, and ask her friends if they could also send it out to 10 people, and then to tell those people to send it out to 10 people, and then we'll see. We'll see how much exponential growth we can get for Erica's.
So what we've learned from Teresa is share, yes, share, repost, all that, interact. We love you for it. But while you're at it, attempt to get everyone you're sharing with to get them to share.
Yeah.
Explicitly.
Yeah.
And it'll become exponential instead of arithmetic, the growth that we'll see.
Exactly.
So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And well, that's it for questions. We've got a very happy, I think, satiated crowd tonight after our wonderful win today. I think we might be drawing it to a close. At only 3 hours. This is a short show tonight. I think any closing words?
No, from me, I think we've covered it. It's just I think we all have the right to feel really proud of what's happened this week. That it's encouraging, and understand we're here for this time. So yeah, it's a crazy time, but we're here for this crazy time so that we can pass a less crazy time on to the next generation and be very proud of what we've done. So yeah, so it's just kind of fun that we know what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to pass on a less crazy world, hand it off to the next generation, and and it's going to be interesting, but we're here to do that. So let's do it.
It's just great to be able to prove to people to stick with it. We did all this work previously for the previous bill. I'm blank. 368.
338.
338.
No, it was 368. I think
368. And we did all the same things. We had thousands of you, tens of thousands of you. We asked you to do this over and over and over again. And then shock election, the bill dies. And it was nothing but comments while we were doing NHPPA show and our updates, campaign updates we used to do back then. Why bother? They're just gonna, we did all this work. Is the bill just dead? But we finally get to show a win, and it's been stated, and we'll play it again before we go out tonight. It's been stated that it was you who made the difference. So it's just let's soak it up. But let's also arm up for another year of the same thing where we're wondering if we're doing anything. At least now we've proven that you are.
Yeah.
So there we go. So shall I take us out with Blaine's wonderful thank you again? I think
that'd be great.
Yep. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Make sure you head off to nhppa.org. Add the word after that you want. Subscribe to go to the newsletter. Volunteer to volunteer. Donate to donate, socials to follow us. We've made it really easy for you, and we'll see you guys next week.
Well, I know I only have 1 minute left, even though there's a good 15 minutes left in the second hour of debate. Mr. Speaker, I do want to say some thank yous. If you'll permit me to, even if I go a little bit longer. I want to say thank you to the Natural Health Product Protection Association, specifically Shawn and Teresa Buckley, for their continued advocacy for freedom of choice for Canadians on this issue and so many more. Thank you so much for the work that you do. To the Canadian Health Food Association, particularly Jules, Sonia, and Wenjing, thank you so much for the work that you do and advocating on behalf of the retailers and the entire industry, the producers, retailers, everybody. But most importantly, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank Canadians who are watching right now. Like I said, 80% of Canadians use these natural health products, and it's your support for your own right to choose your health outcomes You were the ones that signed those cards that we all got. You are the ones that signed the petitions. You are the ones that wrote the emails. You were the ones that made the calls to MPs' offices, and you've changed the tide on this debate in this country, and your House should be responding to you. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm looking very much forward to the continuation of this bill as it goes through the legislative process. I want to thank everybody that's been supportive. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.